Welcome to Lorehammer, Episode 46, Aeldari, Path of the Warrior, Part 1. Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Eric.
Hey everybody. I am Mark.
There we go. Okay, that's what I'm waiting for. Joining us today are two more guests, obviously. One of them you'll know or you'll recognize, Peter.
Oh, hello.
Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Of course you are. Who wouldn't be?
Frankie. That's why it's taken so long.
That's why every time he's like,
I'm busy.
Yeah, like, you guys are just jerks. Assholes. Anyways, joining us today is Frank. How are you doing?
Hello.
The last time you were on was almost
3 years
You were
ago.
our very first guest, I think, actually.
I was
after Christian.
Yeah, he's not a guest.
He is. He's not part of this.
He is Lorehammer.
No.
He is the heart and spirit of...
I quit.
You haven't been back since like that orc episode?
Yeah, that was my first-
early on?
episode 3.
Wow.
Yeah. You can really tell who our friends are by who we have on.
That's right.
and
Or who's
regularity.
willing to come back.
Ouch, that's
that.
painful.
Wow.
Why?
Well, really, I'm here because Mark, I try and get motorcycle favors out of Mark.
Yeah, so this is how you get now
Wait.
30 minutes of motorcycle.
Oh, I love it. Beautiful. Love it.
Get out. That's not how this works.
So worth it.
We do not sell
don't
ourselves.
actually
I
know
sell
what Warhammer
all Warhammer
is
services.
anymore.
It has been a long time since you've even just been involved in the hobby.
Yes, sir.
But that's okay. You've got life, right?
In fact, I've heard that you're married to Eric's sister. And
Don't,
that is
I don't
why-
want to talk
don't
about it.
bring that
Don't want to
into
talk
this.
about it.
But yes. Eric is my brother, and I shall refer to him as such throughout the episode.
Shoot me now. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Moving on, though. But before we actually get into the episode, what we want to do is take a moment to thank our new Patreons. So thank you so much to Lewis.
And Hugh.
Yes, thank you, Hugh. And also to Anon.
Anon.
The name that said it donated was Anon. I was like, oh, that's right.
Some people are such good people, they don't want to be known as unknown. They want to be so unknown to even be unknown.
Wait, if it's anonymous, can I just take credit for all the anonymous Patreons you have? They're all me.
Well, it was only 50 cents patronage.
Yeah,
so
Peter.
That's pretty stingy of you.
Oh,
Thank you for coming forward, Peter.
it was a trap.
It always is.
The best though is Hugh. I was talking to him literally like a couple hours before, and he's like, "Oh, when are you gonna read my listener lore?" I'm like, "Oh, well, we read them in order. We got a bunch in. Like, we'll get to it eventually. But if you give us money, we'll bump you up on the move list." So,
Right, which is not a real thing until
now it is.
Mark and his flappy mouth.
if you give me money, I will bump your listener lore up. Is what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
This is not a one-time offer. What do you call a lot of time
Is this
offer?
Prostitution.
Is this prostitution? Yeah.
This
is prostitution,
Mark
right?
is selling Lorehammer. He's turning tricks. This is what it is doing.
Normally, I have to sell my body for Warhammer, but this time I'm actually getting
Smart businessman.
Yes.
Yeah, these are money moves right here. Yeah.
getting money for Warhammer.
He's not a businessman. He's a businessman.
Well, so thanks everyone for contributing.
Yes, thank you for your support.
There's always little things we want to buy, to make the quality
Yeah.
better and stuff. So,
And to enhance what we can offer
Yeah.
and add things. So we're always looking at ways to increase what we give.
like minimum effort, but
Yeah.
maximum output is
That's
what I
right.
like this is
Which
the most
apparently
I-
takes a lot of money. Like, it's weird. It's like the more money you put in something, the less time you have to put into it. So it seems to us we just need
Money
a
pit.
lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah. So give us money.
cool.
All right. Let's start. Today we are going to play a little game called Pictionary, but with words. So what's going to happen is Mark is
drum.
going to think of a topic. It's not a drum. I'm telling you that right now. Mark is going to think of a topic. He's going to give us one word at a time, and we're going to go around the table, and we're all going to have a chance to guess what he's saying. And then until we get it, he's just going to keep adding one word and one more hint until we get it.
Is it an item or is it like
Anything in 40K.
Oh, it has 40. Oh no.
Well, obviously it's going to be 40K. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's what we're doing here, right?
Sirloin steak. That's it. That's why you're here, Frank. It's
Clearly
40K.
the qualifications to be on this show is
Low.
very low. Very low. Yeah. I
Don't say that with Peter here.
Peter's like studying all night. I like crammed the notes that Eric sent me in like 10 minutes last night. I was like, oh, that is definitely Tildir.
You looked at it and you're
is-
like, yep, that's
That's
Warhammer.
Eldar.
Those are
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, back to the office.
Mark, go ahead.
Alrighty. First word will be chaos.
Anything that comes to your mind.
Chaos Marine.
Oh, he's getting closer.
Oh, got it in one.
Okay.
Got it in
Go,
one.
Frank.
Drummer.
No.
It's not a drummer. Shoot.
Well, what else is there?
There's only chaos.
Noise
Marine.
marine.
drums.
Noise
Yeah.
marine.
No.
That would be a drum, though, right?
Right.
Drum marine.
Well, maybe.
Drum marine. Can we make
Or
those?
harps
Can we
or
make that a thing?
guitar
Should
or-
I come to the garage and make a?
Anytime you want to come there, you're more than welcome. Next
beautiful.
word.
Sorry.
Nurgle.
Guys,
I don't work here.
this is not how I studied. It's
Plague
like
marine.
the pop quiz in front of the class.
A plague marine.
This is this is what I have nightmares about.
Feculent Narlma.
No.
How is that not it? I have no idea.
Slanish.
No, he said Nurgle.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Final word I'll give you is virus.
Okay. Well, I know it now.
Oh,
No one else is going to know.
bail us out
no,
here.
no.
Bail us out.
Nurgle virus.
That's
clearly.
right. He-
Clearly what
he
it is.
got it.
I
A Nurgle marine virus.
par in
No.
3.
It is the obliterator virus.
Ah, yes, sir. And that's the teaser for the next upcoming bonus episode.
Well, after listener lore.
No, there is no listener, Lord.
Oh my God! Don't tell Hugh. Don't tell Hugh.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. So I think we're ready to start the episode.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with chaos or obliterator virus.
No.
But what is all about the path of the warrior of the Eldari.
Or
You
the
know,
craft world, Eldar.
That's right.
For
As
the
they call
layman.
themselves. As they identify themselves.
Nope. But okay.
They do. That's how they identify.
That's the Eldari, sure.
Well, or the Asuriani.
Oh my god. these
Craft
are,
world
These are all
Eldar.
made up words. I just
All
want
words are
everyone
made
to know.
up, Aren't they?
No.
Yes, they are.
Okay. What? What the fuck?
Let's talk about
What's
the path.
happening?
Okay, so we actually have talked about the path before. You were actually on that episode, Peter.
Oh yeah. I am the resident Eldar expert.
That's right. We should get him a T-shirt that says "Resident Eldar Expert." The REE.
We're constantly trying to improve Lorehammer. This is
That's
one of the
how we're
ways
spending
your
money.
Patreon donations can improve Lorehammer.
But that was, if you are unfamiliar with what the path represents, first of all, you shouldn't be listening to this episode because you're listening to it out of order, which is a gross.
Misuse of resources.
Absolutely.
So go back, listen to episode 20 or 35. Path of the
Do you have
Eldar.
all the episodes you've ever been on tattooed on your back or something, and like the titles?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Go back and listen to that. We basically talk for 3 hours about the path of the Eldar, which is basically a way that the Eldar are able to focus themselves so they can avoid falling to excesses and giving their soul to Slanish.
Yeah, it allows them to like focus a specific portion of themselves and explore the universe through that lens without falling into a hedonistic trap.
Because Eldar are so like emotional. They just feel things. They're like a 13-year-old emo kid. They just feel things so much deeper than anyone
No.
else can imagine.
I mean,
It's just
I relate.
the feelings
I
are
get
so
that.
deep. Yeah, Frankie knows.
I get that.
He knows.
think it's a
He
little
feels
weird.
things that we don't feel.
Yeah.
And such extremes. Love? Never felt it, but I heard it's great. I've heard good things.
But what we are going to focus on today is the path, specifically the path of the warrior. Now, anyone who follows the path of the warrior are the defenders of craft worlds. They are warriors that follow in the path of Cain, the Eldari God of War, and all of them adopt particular aspects of him.
Yeah. Everyone needs to be able to fight, I guess.
Well,
I
they
don't
need,
know
they
what
need to
I'm
be
saying.
able to the craft
Defend
worlds
the
need to be
craft
able to
world,
protect
yeah.
itself, right? Or to like go on the offensive in order to alter things in the universe, because the Eldari are known for changing time, right? They look at the threads of fate and they want to find the best output.
Well, and this is 40K, so if you don't have warriors, you don't stick around for very long.
No,
right?
Right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
That's a good point. You won't be around for very long. It's called that anyone who is on the path of the warrior is actually a priest of Cain. And that's like what it means to like they erect shrines, to meditate, and worship is a strong word, but really, I mean, worship in the sense that everyone worships a chaos god, right? Like what you're feeding is instead Cain and the idea that is Cain, as opposed to your own selfish, violent, physical tendencies.
Yeah. And just like a priesthood, it takes like all of your focus, like it takes everything of you to like fall down that path. It's you can't focus on anything else. You're so dedicated to it. And war is like particularly like emotional too, especially for the Eldar. So
because they're so in tune with
and it just takes more out of them. And it's like priesthood essentially. Yeah, like you were saying. So ramble, words and stuff.
But let's talk about Phoenix Lords. Now, the Phoenix Lords are the original founders of shrines. So, and these shrines are founded millennia ago, after the fall of the Eldar, though, after the birth of Slaanesh. So some of them, especially the oldest ones, have almost been around for as long as it's been that the Eldar have lived on craft worlds.
Yeah, 10,000 years. It's wild.
Well, more than that, but that's fine. It's
Sure.
just numbers.
Oh my god, this episode has a weird vibe to it. Every episode's a different vibe, and this one I'm picking up some weird
Touchy vibes?
No.
Those are the only vibes I like to give out.
Oh god.
Other than actual touchies.
Please don't touch me.
Sorry. You were warned. So Phoenix Lords, they call no specific craft world home, but they instead wander the galaxy seeking out conflict. They can sense where they are needed and are attracted to war and the need of the Aeldari.
Yeah.
They've kind of transcended like regular beings.
Yeah. It's like lots of people even like will mistake them for gods because they're just like such a level above, like even like their like the way they move, like their strength, like everything's just
the way they talk,
yeah,
their presence, like how you feel when you're in the presence of a Phoenix Lord. Because really, like there's, for each aspect, and we're going to go into the different aspects, there's only one Phoenix Lord that throughout the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and even though there's as many craft worlds as there are, and if all of those craft worlds have like a shrine of the Dire Avengers, they all follow the same Phoenix Lord.
Yeah. And like his teachings and like, his way of war. It's pretty wild.
Their worship gives him strength.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I'm so lost. I'm so worried about this episode. You have no idea.
Orc.
My hands are like sweating. I'm like, I have no idea what Eldar is. This
He's weak, palm sweating. Mom spaghetti on his sweater already. Right? That's right.
You have played 40K, right, Frankie?
in a very, very long time.
That's okay. You probably played it more recently than Peter. But Peter...
Oh, this is a game you can play?
It's not just books.
Yeah, I thought it was just lore,
I'm just here for
guys.
the books.
I'm just here for the books, guys.
Hey, I just see Mark's minis on his shelf. I never actually see him do anything with them.
That's true.
Well, you
That's
can't
true.
actually do anything with them. You build them and you look at them.
Don't paint them, that's for sure.
50 Shades of Grey, friends.
So the Phoenix Lords, they use the webway to travel from craft world to craft world depending on the need, and it's pretty crazy that they just can sense that that foreboding, that doom, that upcoming battle. So they just travel the craft world, going where they're needed most. The Lords exist to this day and are kept alive through the continued consumption of Eldar souls.
Yes, and bodies.
But sometimes Phoenix Lord will disappear for 2 centuries.
Yeah.
Just you don't see them and then they show up again.
Yeah, and part of that can be just due to the way they are.
They might have been doing something in another area that no Eldar is in, so they don't know where they are.
And the other part of it is when a Phoenix Lord dies, his soul gets absorbed back into his armor, and that armor could lay dormant on a distant battlefield, collecting dust for millennia, and then eventually an Eldar warrior could go pick it up, and when he dons the armor, then he kind of gets consumed by the Phoenix Lord.
Yeah, and it rises again, and hence the Phoenix.
Yeah.
You know.
So
That's
they
cool.
can just be dead for millennia, but like they're still alive in their armor.
Because the armor houses the spirit stone.
Yeah.
And so as long as that spirit stone is kept safe, there shouldn't be any problem. It should last forever.
Yeah. So they can never like really die unless you've like destroyed like their armor completely.
I was about to say, can you destroy their stones?
And that would be the other way to do it too.
Yeah.
And I think there is an example. I forget which Phoenix Lord, but I think one of them has been killed.
And how
and
is that like super hard to do though?
Well, it's just
Like killed and not resurrected. Yeah, would be super
But
hard.
I'm saying like to destroy one of their stones.
Yeah.
okay. Like if you put a Phoenix Lord and then you put an atomic bomb on it, probably the Phoenix Lord is going to perish. But they're so special and they're so like perfect in what they do that I don't know. Like it seems that they've transcended regular battle. Like you can't trap them. They understand, like, whatever you think you're doing is sneaky. They've been around for 14,000 years and they've seen it before.
Yeah. And not only have they been around for 14,000 years, when somebody dons their armor, their soul then becomes a part of the Phoenix Lord. So then they get that Eldar's life experience.
I was about to say they probably get that like knowledge and
exactly.
everything.
So like,
right.
and then
They're
they
constantly adding
die,
to
and then
it.
they add another. So then they have 100,000 years of experience. Like
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, like they're incredibly tough. I wish on tabletop they were like a little better. Like
It is not
they should be like
fully.
Yeah, they should be like Primarch level stats. Like they're crazy what they really are. But yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about them.
Well, it totally fits in the Primarch category as well. Just as like there's only one Reboot Gilliman.
yeah, and like
there's-
Reboot Gilman has the Ultramarines. The Phoenix Lord Asuraman has
the Dire Avengers.
Like yeah.
I agree. They should be very similar level.
But yeah,
What are they kind of tabletop?
they're just mid range. Like
they're just HQs.
Yeah, they're like only 150 points with like a
Like a
Reboot-
knob?
like a war.
I'm going to
boss.
relate everything in this
Yeah,
episode to orcs somehow.
You gotta feel familiar with yourself.
Exactly.
And what you're doing. Yeah.
Related.
Yeah. Yeah. The Phoenix Lord Spirit Stone houses all the souls of previous hosts, but it's the original warrior that commands the current body, and it is his will that is manifested.
So even though, like I might don the armor of Asurman, like my soul is consumed by his.
Yeah.
And it is his soul then that takes over my body and then commands that armor.
Yeah.
So it's very different than how an Exarch works. And even though they share some similarities, like this is 100% you are being possessed, and then you lose yourself in their craziness that is their soul.
Yeah.
The craft world
What a way to go.
Eldar are educated about the Phoenix Lords through the Asuriata, which is an epic told only once every generation. It is known only by the Bards of Twilight, which are a group of poets and storytellers and features many parables and teachings which guide a lot of the day-to-day actions of the Eldar as well as war councils.
So they're educated about the Phoenix Lords, but once a generation. So they're not getting like a lot of information.
But if
And
you
like
think
an Eldar
about it,
generation would be like a
yeah.
long
but if
time.
you think about it, would an Eldar ever forget?
Well, like, what if you're like an 8-year-old Eldar there?
I don't
though,
think it
right?
matters.
You're like watching that thing, and you know,
Now you don't get to see it again.
You don't
But-
see it again.
You
Yeah.
might.
And
You
like the
might-
Harlequins don't even do this play either. Like
Yeah, like this is. I'm just wondering, like, how much is really known about the Phoenix Lords. Like, for instance,
Well, I know
do
you'd have to
you-
listen to the Asuriata.
do you really know that like the Phoenix Lord is going to come and like take over your body? You're like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. Oh yeah, Phoenix Lord, come.
No.
And then like,
Ascend!
yeah, Peter's gone. Now the Phoenix Lord is taken over, and you're like, oh, that was not actually a great deal for
I don't
me.
think that's what the education entails at all. If anything, it's a history.
Well, sure. I'm just saying I don't think there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
That they're
No, they're
like,
not.
how much do you really know about
And
Phoenix
that's why
Lord
I
as
think
a
it's-
regular Eldar?
It's full
Yeah.
of more parables and teachings and less of like, all right, so when you open your soul up to
Hurt
Asuraman,
like hell.
yeah, it's not.
It'll
gonna
be
good.
so worth it,
Yeah.
though.
But you got to let it happen. Don't fight it.
yeah.
And then kind of the last big thing we have on Phoenix Lords is that it's prophesied that all the Phoenix Lords will gather together and fight at the Ranadandra, which is the Eldar final battle against Chaos,
Yeah.
which Yanari is trying to, or sorry, Yvraine, that's who. She's trying to force that battle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. It's even said that like in the Rahana Dandra or whatever, that like some of the Phoenix Lords will actually die forever during that final battle. Like after that, they'll finally find peace and die. And like,
Yeah, because
So are they like
they're
tormented?
like you would almost have
How
to
do
be
you
like,
think, man? After living for that long,
Yeah,
and
like-
only battle,
only battle.
like
yeah.
you don't know peace
Oh.
or anything,
Yeah.
right?
They
All-
only come to life for battle.
no. They
They only
exist
know
for
battle.
battle.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They follow the path of the warrior, which
It
means
all starts from being lost on the path of the warrior,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all Phoenix Lords would be lost
Sure.
on the path of the warrior.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, that's the first step, right? So you've got like the different paths, which we talked about in episode 35, and then there's being lost. You can be lost on any of those paths, but to become like an Exarch, you have to be lost on the path of the warrior, which means
Yeah.
you're stuck in that path. You can never really leave it. That's your path for life.
Yeah.
And so the Phoenix Lords have all
That's
what it is. They're lost on that path. They
Yeah.
only know war. They don't know anything else.
And then
They can't know
every
anything
soul that
else.
they absorb most likely also is only known war. Everyone is also lost on that same path. And yeah.
and yeah, so they're not spending any time peacefully being
They're not
an
gardening,
artist,
yeah,
or
doing an
they're not
artist,
doing
right.
path of like the dream or anything.
Yeah.
All they're doing is battle after battle. So
pretty cool.
I don't think you're like, you got to be a pretty powerful psyche in order to survive that
Yeah.
and be yourself still.
Yeah. It's a good time.
It's a great time.
For 40K, it's a good time.
Is there such thing as a good time?
Yeah,
at
yeah,
40K?
yeah. You know, you're rolling dice as you're getting all sixes. It's a good time.
That's
That's
Maybe
how
maybe
that's how in the
your-
lore works too. They all are just rolling dice, figured
that's
out
how
stuff.
they actual battle. And
Yeah.
then when they win,
That's
they're
how
like,
I
"Well,
always
stand there,
do.
so I'll shoot you."
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense.
that's how it works.
I don't know if I believe you. All right, let's talk about Exarchs.
So Exarchs, these warriors have become lost upon the path, and they stay within their shrines, teachings, guidings, and leading their warriors into battle. They basically just are like the heroes of certain shrines, heroes of aspects, and they lead their brothers, they teach them. Everyone needs to be taught how to fight properly. Even though you're an elder and you have like this perfect body and like perfect agility, always coordinated, you still need to like be taught like martial arts and
Yeah, and you need to learn the characters and adopt like the feelings and the emotions of
Yeah.
that particular shrine, because every aspect that we're going to go into, they focus on very different methods.
and even like their philosophies
Yes,
are
that's a
different
good
too. Like some are very grim and have a very grim outlook on life, and others are not as much. But
It's said that Exarchs, while they like never leave their shrines, like the other warriors that are in the shrine can actually leave and they can go live in their quarters or whatever, but an Exarch never leaves. And part of that is because all other Eldar view them as already being dead. So even though their actions and the role that they're in is honored and respected, it's like, how could an Eldar relate to you when you've given yourself so far in this path? So
that's kind of wild.
they're kind of ostracized from society that way.
They're also on Path of the Warrior?
The Exarchs?
Yeah.
Yes, they're
have to
lost on the path of the warrior.
Okay, yeah. I'm following.
Yeah.
I got you.
So, sorry, Peter.
Yeah. So, and just to clarify, because there's the different aspects, which are like groups of like
They're paths
warriors.
within a path.
Right. And so those are larger groups. And then within those aspects are the different shrines.
Yes.
Yeah.
So each aspect could have a few shrines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about here. And then each shrine would have an Exarch.
Yeah, exactly.
And the aspect has the Phoenix Lord over the whole aspect.
So yeah, you can, in one craft world, you can have 5 different shrines, all dire avengers. And even though they all are slightly different, they all function in a very similar way. And there are going to be some things about them that are the same and very small things that aren't. But all of them, they're Phoenix
So
Sword
there,
is.
because the aspect is the dire avengers.
Yes.
Then the different shrines are within that group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exarchs, there's a lot of them. Like a craft world could have
As many as they have shrines.
as many as people are called onto the path.
Yeah.
And Exarchs are also in charge of maintaining the shrine and its war gear. Is another thing that they are in charge of doing.
Yeah, especially because a lot of times the shrine houses like sacred weapons and
Yeah.
sacred armaments, right? Or like rituals or like housing things.
Yeah.
So, an interesting thing about Exarch armor is that it actually has multiple spirit stones within it. and all the previous Exarchs who have worn that armor are placed inside it after their body dies. So if you all of a sudden become an Exarch of this of this shrine, you put on that armor, now you can actually commune with all the other previous Exarchs of this shrine.
Yeah.
So very different than Phoenix Lords, but they function in a similar way.
Like the Avatar
Okay.
from The Last
And-
Airbender.
My understanding of it too is when you put that armor on, like it fuses with you. Like there's no taking that armor
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah.
So you put on that Exarch armor, you are an Exarch. Not only are you lost on the path,
Yeah.
but now you put on that armor.
And you're ostracized from
so
society.
you've got these other voices in your head connected from the spirit zones in your body. But yeah, you don't just take that thing off.
No, one floss.
And all those
always
voices
lost.
in your head, all they want to talk about is their previous war battles and stuff, their previous glories.
I did this so much better than you're doing this right now.
Right? No. For a second, I was like, "Is Peter telling that to Mark?" But what?
No,
that's the voice in your head.
I was also following. I was like, oh man, he's throwing shade on his own podcast. That's pretty.
That was
That's
rude.
pretty out there.
Why would you be so hurtful?
No, I mean, just imagine having like all these warrior voices in your head.
Yeah.
Should have gone left
Ancient
instead of
war-
up.
Yeah.
No, for real. That's
It's like a backseat gamer.
it. Really is.
That sounds like the worst.
Yeah, when you read it, they
Question.
are not at peace with each other. They are constantly contending.
Like, do they get to choose if they become an Exarch?
Are
Are they like called to it?
That's an interesting question.
Say there's like what are the other guys called?
Phoenix Lords.
Phoenix Lord. Say there's like Phoenix Lord armor and then Exarch armor. Would they like, oh, I want to be an Exarch and then pick that armor? Or is it like, oh, like my spirit is called to this one, or I don't know. How does
There's
are you gonna get into
Exarch
that? or-
armor, like that kind of thing happens all the time because
Exarchs will die.
they'll
all the
die.
time.
Oh,
Whereas
okay.
like Phoenix Lords, like that's a huge.
Is that like an honor?
Big thing. Like that'd be totally
So
different.
there are some warriors even who like undertake pilgrimages and like missions to specifically find lost Phoenix Lord
crazy.
armor
That's
because they're
cool.
like, I want to resurrect him and
That's cool.
and bring him back and I want to become the Phoenix Lord. But there's a couple different ideas that we've had on like what does it take to be lost and like how do you actually become lost on the path. And I think
questions.
I think you could accept both answers. I think you could accept the one of where your soul slowly just loses itself on the path, and it's just it doesn't happen consciously. It doesn't happen because of any one decision you made, but it's just a slow path that you followed, and eventually you're lost and you can't find your way back. But I also think that in times of need, like the gestalt will of the Eldar, like calls a need to some things, and if it needs specific people to become Exarchs and lead things, then some people it'll rise up and they feel forced and like pointed into that,
there's
and
not
they
much
feel like they
choice.
can't escape it.
Right.
Because I've read examples of both.
Yeah. I like
like
to.
they choose to be Exarchs and they're called.
There's
to
not really a choice
Okay.
in it.
But like
That was
we
my
touched
question.
on
I
this
see,
too
sorry.
in episode 35, but that whole idea of like within the whole culture of the Eldar, like they need to have all these things. And so yes, there's a component of like I'd like to try this or I'd like to do this, but you're also considering the larger will of like what the Eldar need, because not everybody can go and do one thing. And so I think built into that culture also is like making sure that everything's covered.
But your decision is much more conscious and rational based.
Yeah. I don't think like just some random craft world guys like, you know, I'm going to go down the path of the warrior comes across
And I'm gonna get lost.
he comes across the Exarch armor. It's laying there. He's like, first day on the path of the warrior, picks up the Exarch armor.
Right, yeah.
I'm the Exarch of the shrine. I don't think that happens at all. Like, I think it definitely, it's not intentional, but it kind of is. Like, the more you focus on battle,
I just created my next role-playing character.
Oh.
for 4K Universe.
interesting.
I'm Gary.
Gary,
It's
yes.
my first day on the path of the warrior. And I just stumbled onto an Exarch piece of armor.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna slap that baby on and
Yeah, like-
what happens
What
next?
shenanigans has Gary got himself into this week?
Gary.
So I don't think that happens. Like, I think it's very much like you have to still be qualified. Most likely, the person who dons the Exarch armor is already going to be fully enshrined in like the shrine doctrine.
Right.
They've
and, like,
trained, they've given everything they have.
Yeah.
They've
They
know what they're
they've
doing.
meditated
Yeah.
so long that they couldn't do anything but be lost.
Yeah.
And you're part of a squad, right? And so your like squad leader is like your Exarch. And so
Yeah.
you're battling with him, and then he falls in battle and he dies, and then you're taking it on to like continue the fight. Like it's not like what you're saying.
But it's more than that, I think, because you can't just be like it's different from a human perspective, because there's a chain of command in human, right? Like if the sergeant falls, the next person just picks up the banner or assumes command. But with Eldar, you have to be willing to like leave every other aspect of Eldar life behind to become lost.
Yes, no, you already realize, I think at that point you're lost on the path, right?
Yeah.
Like this is because this takes a large amount of time.
Yeah.
But I think in the Path of the Warrior book that both you and I read, that I think that's exactly how it happens.
But it's-
essentially is because to have the Exarch's armor available, the Exarch has died.
Not necessarily.
Which usually happens. Well, because it's fused to their body. So what happens if they don't?
But sometimes
it's
there
not
are
death, what is
shrines.
it?
Sometimes there are shrines that are unused for thousands of years. That you like in that
Sure,
story.
sure.
Also, like he is drawn and he doesn't know why, and he's drawn through these paths that he's never been through on the craft world before until he finds himself at this shrine. And there's this armor that hasn't been used in so long, and he puts it on, and now he's an Exarch. But that wasn't part of his original shrine at all. It is a completely different shrine, even though it's still striking Scorpion. So even though it can happen in that heat of the battle moment, I truly think that it's more likely. I think it's less likely that you become an Exarch in the middle of a battle, and it's more like I've now fallen.
Yeah,
And
not necessarily in the heat of
Yeah, because
battle.
you literally
but
have to take off all your armor.
Right, yes.
Take
well,
off
that's
all the
the
dead
giant-
guy's
Get
armor.
changed here, real
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
guys. Hold on,
Yeah.
stop shooting.
Yeah.
But yes, I also think that like in almost everything we read, Exarchs have been that warrior for years, countless years. Sometimes it even
Yeah.
says, but like as they are Exarchs. So
And,
it's not anyone can do it.
Yeah, and the other thing too about shrines is they don't always have an Exarch. Like, so let's say, like,
Really.
yeah, like even on tabletop, you don't have to take an Exarch. You don't.
I don't think
So
you could
no,
have a
just let me hear
okay,
me out.
all right.
Just let me hear. So if the one died, right, and like he had 4 pupils, it was a small shrine, or let's even say 3 pupils, and none of them felt like they were worthy to put on that Exarch armor. I don't think they would. Like, I honestly don't think they would unless they were full. Like, none of them are lost on the path. Like, all of them still have other aspirations. I don't think one of them would be forced to do it. Like, and then there are examples of shrines just dying out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, but
So-
I think that's
I think that's
the
more
shrine
likely.
the shrine is not going to persist without an Exarch.
Right.
Because
but so it could kind of.
it will die out
will
until an
die-
Exarch comes to
exactly.
claim ownership
Yeah,
and
so
leadership.
it
Just
could have
because there's
those-
specific things that the Exarch is doing for the shrine.
Exactly,
So those duties
maintaining
aren't
things
being
and-
maintained. That's
Yeah.
not happening. And so,
Yeah.
you're just going to probably end up drifting over to one of the other shrines within the same
Or,
aspect.
or
Or even a
out
different
path completely.
a different
like you
path
could just
or a
leave.
different
That's true. If you're not
So-
lost on it, then
Exactly.
Yeah. you
Because
can-
Is it
yeah,
bad to be lost?
yeah,
Yes
Yeah.
and no.
it's bad.
What you should do, Frank, is you should listen to episode 35.
I was just thinking, I was like, I probably should have listened to that before
Nah.
came to this one.
nah,
it's-
you're informed enough.
The path of the like you can be lost on the path, and it sucks for you potentially because you can't experience any other aspect of Eldar life. But it is necessary for Eldar civilization to have people lost.
Okay, cool.
So it's like you make a
Sure.
sacrifice.
Yes, for sure.
Cool.
And it's basically like this is my life's calling. This is what I'm supposed to do forever.
But you don't have to feel that way. You could just as easily been like, I can't believe I can't find my way out.
Yes,
and
there's-
now it's
there's
just
both.
too late for me.
Yeah, what I'm looking at a little more from the
Pessimist,
positive,
optimist, yeah.
side. But yes, there also
Half
is
full, half
the
empty.
Yeah.
Guys on the sides
crappy
of the
side.
table.
there's both. Yeah. I can't find my way out, and also no, this is good. I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been a lot on Exarchs, but
And there's more.
We do have a little more. Yeah. So a lot of times, individual armor has individual titles with it. So if you're a Shrine of the Striking Scorpion, and you're an Exarch, eventually you will claim the title of that armor.
Yeah.
And there are just as many shrines as there are, which, as we've said, could be infinite. There are infinite titles with infinite armors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it
And,
is cool to know.
the way the title kind of even plays out is just because, like, when you don that armor, like we said, you kind of get that knowledge of all those previous people, and all of them have kind of been basing their knowledge off the previous people. So you eventually just form a certain thought process. So like the one armor might be called like the quick strike, you know, because everyone kind of who donned that armor like was hearing whispers in their head, like, oh, you got to be like quick and fast, you know. So it just kind of eventually creates its own name for itself based on the personalities around like the combat it's been doing. So
Yeah.
there you go.
This is the crazy armor. All the crazy Exarchs.
So I think we've said this before, that each aspect can have multiple shrines. But what we should say is that each Exarch can only tend after a limited number of aspect warriors.
Yeah.
So part of that is just going to be the shrine isn't big enough to hold everything, depending on the shrine itself. And also part of that is because he is the spiritual guide, the teacher, the leader of these people, that he doesn't have time to devote himself to 700 students.
Exactly. It's very limited. Most shrines, you can only really like mentor like a couple people. So most shrines will cap out around 10 people.
Yeah. And part of what we're going off by that is just tabletop squad numbers.
Yeah.
And like, hey, when you have a squad of 10, one of those is going to be an Exarch.
Yeah.
Right. But also, even in the book, like there's not a lot of people in the shrine at all.
And like
because you need to devote so much to them on an individual level.
Yeah, and like even like Eldar populations are not massive populations in the first place. So yeah.
And these are all like elites, right? So it's not like everyone is like, I want to be a dire avenger, mom.
Although that is the one that has the most people
and there's probably just the most shrines and the biggest shrines. Sure.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about shrines now, because we've been throwing that out a lot.
Okay.
Shrines are like massive structures in craft worlds that house the aspect warriors, the Exarch, their war gear, and their training grounds and facilities.
I'm so glad you went over what shrines were, because I thought that was in episode 35 as well.
Oh.
And I was like,
Fuck.
just
This
lost
is just
some
a
more.
recap.
Oh, this is?
No.
Perfect.
Each shrine will be different in its appearance, and though they're going to look really different, there's one thing that they all must have, and that is an inner sanctum.
Yeah. And in the inner sanctum, this is where the Exarch resides, and they are quad-ministered.
I don't know who's typing stuff in our notes.
Administer the
look
rites
at
of
that,
war
it's Frankie.
before the altar of Cain.
Why would you give me editing rights? That is on you, sir.
Touche.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah, so this is where the Exarch resides, and like this is where he performs the rites of battle before the altar of Cain that's inside. Some of these rites are marking aspect warriors with rune bloods before battle, singing songs of old battles, and donning the war gear, which is very ritualistic.
Extremely ritualized.
Yeah.
Shrines can be any kind of environment possible. So it's not limited to like a singular building or tower. They can be anything you want. So if you want like a swamp as a shrine, or really if that's like what your aspect or your shrine represents, you'll be in the swamp. And then it could be a frozen wasteland. It could be a desert. It could be anything.
Yeah. And even just to go back to like how massive these are, some aspects pilot vehicles, like there's we'll talk about them in this episode, eagle pilots, where they're flying fighter jets. So you have to have this massive, like we're talking about like,
because you need to train with them, right?
Yeah, like we're talking about a huge place. We're not just talking about a small little warehouse.
Yeah,
You have
I
to be
was
able to
thinking-
fly and maneuver. These planes can go 360 kilometers per hour or whatever, like
Oh, it's way more than
360,000
yeah.
kilometers per hour. Like you need a huge area for some of these shrines.
Would some of these shrines be like, are they on worlds though? Or
On craft
Are
worlds.
any of them like as big as? Oh, they're on craft.
They're on craft worlds because these are specifically for craft world.
Yeah,
Eldar.
and
okay,
craft
okay,
worlds
okay.
can be like planet-sized spaceships.
Right. Okay.
So think like the entire country of Canada could potentially
Be an eagle pilot shrine.
right. Yeah, exactly. Devoted specifically to the teaching and training of Eagle Pilot philosophy.
I follow.
Yeah, and like even just to go back, like why would you have different biodomes and stuff? Like what would be the purpose of that? And it could just be specialization. Like some Dire Avengers their Exarch really values urban combat, so they build like an urban combat area. You know, some like what?
I don't know. I don't think that the Exarch builds anything. I think it's
the craft world and
the shrine. The shrine already exists.
Yeah.
And then through the teaching is you've just adapted to become part of that. So then
So
they become
when a new
experts of
when a new Exarch is like dons the armor, he's not changing the whole shrine.
No, yes, of
like
course.
that's already
Okay.
established. But like the very first one who established the shrine, he would have probably took like his personal style.
I could see
and
that,
put it in.
And Exarchs can start shrines.
Yeah, because you can start shrines like depending on the calling. So
Because shrines are within the aspect.
Yeah,
Exarchs
like-
can't start an aspect because
No.
that's the Phoenix Lord.
Yeah.
But the shrine within the aspect, that's the Exarch.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
So that's kind of why like these vary so much. It's just depending on the aspect, also depending on like within that aspect, like the certain flavor of
Yeah.
that aspect, because everyone fights a little differently. So, and like has little different martial arts. So yeah.
So that's kind of shrines. Now let's talk about aspect war gear. So these are some things that are kind of universal between all aspects, even though
most, yeah.
Yeah. Not all of them, but a lot of them will share lots of similarities between these. And then when we go through each individual one, we'll also go in with what makes them particularly special in their war gear.
Yeah. So the key thing that this one everyone does have, and it's the aspect armor. And this is worn by all aspect warriors, so some aspects have thicker and more durable armor, but the creation and outcome are very similar.
Yeah. It's created from a psychosensitive material that molds to the wearer's body and reacts to its movements. It also hardens on impact. It's described as like a mesh gear and this thing that's very fluid and offers like lots of freedom of movement, but still is crazy protective.
Yeah, it's kind of even like it's a weird thought when they put it on. It's like this baggy thing, and then they might like touch a button and like sucks
molds
in.
and freezes into their body.
There's one Marvel
Spider-Man.
hero.
Have you seen
Spider-Man, yes.
Alita?
No, I haven't.
They
do that too.
The
or?
face bugs me
Oh,
so much.
it's super weird, super trippy.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought
The
it was. I
face?
thought it was
You like the face?
the movie or
No,
the
the
face?
movie. The
Oh yeah,
movie.
yeah. The movie was cool.
The big eyes, it wasn't so bad.
No, you should watch it. Like I'm kind of
I will.
picturing like I don't want to like spoil stuff, but
Well, then don't.
That was good.
well, I should. No, it's good. It's
You
worth the
enjoyed
watch.
it?
It's worth the watch. But it's kind of there's a cool part in there where I'm kind of like, oh, that's kind of like Peter would probably know what I mean.
Just tell me.
Cool armor that you're talking about.
No,
Violence.
Spider-Man has that where
Yeah.
it's like baggy. He touches the middle and
And that's just like and it's
shrinks
like
up
now
to be
body
form-fitting.
tight and like perfectly like you can move every which way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of difference in that armor based on your specialization.
Yeah, there
whether
definitely
you need
is.
it to be thicker, which is going to slow you down a bit, or whether you're going to be moving quickly.
Yeah.
Although the unifying thing is big dorky helmets.
I love
Gotta love those
I
big
love
dorky
it.
Gotta
Eldar.
be able to-
they all have large helmets, but not all of them have plumes.
Yeah. But
That's true.
cone helmets are
But,
a very common
yeah.
thing.
Well, that's to
hold
fit
the
their
ego.
cone heads.
No, it's to hold their ego.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That
Their
makes
massive ego.
Another thing that's very common among aspect war gear are shuriken weapons.
Yeah, whether these are rifles, pistols, sniper rifles, it's all a very similar concept, just different scales.
Yeah. And the concept is that the weapon fires a disc.
Monomolecular discs.
So
Yes, sir.
the edge of the disc is sharpened to a molecular point. So when it cuts, it's able to separate molecules.
Obsidian.
This is
That's
like
pretty cool.
Nope.
one of
Doesn't it
Warhammer's
cut on like can't you,
Obsidian
yeah
cuts on molecules.
I swear
No.
I read it can the tip of the blade can be like as sharp.
like in Game of Thrones obsidian,
Yeah, like dragon glass.
dragon glass, like that kind. What kind of
Obviously,
Still
clearly
talking
that's
about Alita?
yes, Alita. That's what it was. Sorry, my bad. Sorry.
No, I haven't heard anything that says obsidian does that.
Okay.
Because these things will like
Fact check me then, please.
There's having like blades where you can't like see where it's like super sharp, and then there's like the
No, don't actually fact check. Eric.
monomolecular.
Yeah, Games
is
Workshop
a whole
loves doing
other
that, like the
level.
monomolecular. It's just like
Everything's
so,
monomolecular.
like over the top. You need to be able to cut that
it
molecule.
can have a cutting edge many times sharper than high quality steel surgical blades. 3 nanometers thick, which is
Okay.
way bigger than a molecule.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There we go. Problem solved. So the edge of those discs are going to be down to a molecular point, and that's just very, very sharp.
and just,
It is.
Is it?
It is actually
Very, very sharp. Okay.
Yes.
one thing to picture is just literally picture shurikens, ninja stars. Like that's
And they shoot those.
literally what it is, and it'll be different.
No.
shapes. Literally, yeah.
No.
It's pretty
love
cool. Like, yeah. And then like Dark Eldar, instead of shooting like shuriken stars, they shoot like spikes. Like
Kunai.
yeah, if that's what they're
Throwing
called.
knives.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, but like, it's literally that.
So an interesting thing about shuriken weapons is that there's no charge. So they fire silently, and the most you ever hear is like a hiss or the sound of the wind.
How do they shoot them?
It's a catapult.
So these are
Not really a catapult.
They're called catapults.
They are catapults.
well, they're not like catapulting like
No, think more like
lobbing.
crossbows.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's a
so they're like-
because catapults is very much lobbing shurikens.
just a handful of shurikens.
like yeah,
It's like
just
Roger.
picture Roger throwing it. Yeah, no, that's not how it is. It's more like Chuck Norris throwing shurikens.
It's more like a repeating crossbow.
yeah, exactly.
okay. So then but they have like technology, right? Like they're
Of course.
they're like advanced, aren't they? Eldar. Like
Yeah.
Well, isn't it better?
They just love shurikens.
yeah.
filed down to a molecular.
Picturing like
point.
one of those like Nerf disc shooters.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah, except
Picture that,
shoot like shreds your molecules.
capable of dealing death.
yeah.
Right.
So file down all your Nerf discs
To obsidian level blades.
No, molecular level.
Oh, sorry, my bad. That's-
Monomolecular.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet though. I love the idea of it.
cool.
I just love like the picture, like
the silent like.
yeah, and then like after the battlefield, there's just like thousands of shurikens in the wall, and then there's like outlines of bodies and stuff, and yeah, it just
Oh yeah, no, that's the part where it falls apart though.
Yeah.
Because on the battlefield, you can't walk anywhere. There's monomolecular shurikens. You can't see the points of these things. You
step
can't
on one,
pick them up.
just-
Who's coming along
That's
and
actually pretty
collecting
funny.
these things?
Like walking on eggshells to
Yeah,
a
it's just
new
the
level.
aftermath
there.
of every battlefield is just like worse than a minefield. You just cannot go there, or you'll instantly get shredded.
That's hilarious.
yeah. So we'll talk more. There's some very specific shuriken type weapons that like are aspect specific, but that's kind of the basic concept of them.
Do they have power weapons?
Do they have power weapons?
Leading question.
Let me tell you.
Oh, was that a setup? I think so.
There we go. So, plasma grenades. No, let's talk about
Ignores power weapons.
yeah, they have power weapons, and power weapons are very similar across the entire galaxy. It's a very similar concept, whether it's Imperial technology or Eldar, and it just creates an energy field around the weapon. It can be any shape too, but it's typically swords,
And it's going to be
spears.
powered differently, but the idea is that it just disrupts matter.
Yeah.
And it allows the weapon, which is just a regular weapon still, to bypass that matter and strike
Yeah.
at a vital point.
Yeah,
I'm just picturing a power shuriken. Just next level.
they almost do have one. It's called like a Triskelet or whatever.
Triskelly?
Yeah,
Triska.
where it's like almost like a giant shuriken where you throw it, but it's like
Catapulted,
way more
I'm assuming.
you catapult it.
That's
and
right.
It's
You
way
just
more
lob it.
dangerous.
Armor piercing too.
Yeah, it's known to be able to go through like
Right.
super thick armor.
Well,
and
that's
stuff.
cool.
Triskele, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, there's only like one model that we've seen use it.
Okay.
And
That's-
then it said that it's so dangerous that anyone else using it would like injure themselves on it.
That's the Janzar
Yeah.
has that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 3-bladed ranged throw.
It's a
weapon.
glaive.
Oh, it is like he throws it.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not shooting that.
No, it's
No,
big. It's like this big.
Yeah, it's like a
geez.
giant
She, and yeah,
shuriken
she,
yeah.
thing, and
What?
you
She.
sexist.
She.
She.
Oh, it's his girl.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but Eldar power weapons typically favor bladed weapons, very elegant weapons. Like the Imperial, like they have fucking
Massive claymores.
thunder hammers and
fists.
stuff. Yeah, it's way more elegant. Like it fits the Eldar. And yeah, we'll talk more about a couple different types when we get to the aspects. So plasma grenades are the next thing that kind of cross aspects. And Eric, you were particularly interested in how plasma works.
I legitimately didn't know. Like Mark's like I'm looking and I'm like, oh, like what actually is plasma? He's like, Mark's just like, it's superheated gas, Eric. I'm like, it's not. It couldn't be. And then we looked
And it was the only time I was ever proven right to Eric, and he admitted it.
whoa. What? That's
Whoa,
not
that's
true.
next level.
Anyways, but yeah, it's just gas that is energized into a plasma state and then typically agitated by a magnetic accelerator to form a superheated matter.
Yeah.
So then there you go.
that's-
Wave serpents.
That's the definition we want on the test that you'll be taking.
Yes, that's the only
make sure
one.
you jot that down.
Yeah.
So jot that down.
Yeah, but it's a plasma grenade, so we all know what a grenade is. You know, you kick something, it's like a soccer ball, you kick it over and then it explodes.
What?
Because that's how you throw grenades.
Why
By
are
kicking
you
them at your
bringing
enemies.
Soccer balls into plasma.
That's what you do.
No.
You drop it and you kick it. Well, that's what the new
It's the most effective way to get distance on your grenade.
Yeah, that's what the new Shadow Spear model looks like he's doing. This
Is
Shadow
that the
Spear
meme?
Space Marine, yeah. Like he looks like he's dropping it, about to kick a grenade.
Lorehammer.
So,
Memeing hard.
I know a couple. People send me them.
Yeah.
Wave serpents.
Yes.
I'd love
And
to see some fan art of people just sending you Eldar kicking plasma grenades.
We'll get
Take
it.
full credit
We
for
will
any
get
of
it
the fan
now.
art that's there.
that would be hilarious.
Yeah, I would just love to see
That's
that.
this grenade.
That's what they do.
But something that is to be noted is that while Imperium plasma is very volatile and potentially dangerous to the user, plasma is not to Eldar at all. Like they're above. Their technology is better and is able to contain plasma way better than Imperium.
So, like their armor can withstand like
No. Like if
What do you-
if an Imperium soldier uses a plasma gun, there's a chance that thing is going to kill him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Whereas
Gotcha.
when an Eldar person uses a plasma gun, they are not going to kill themselves.
Is
by
that just
using
due
it.
to like the thousands of years that they've been dealing
They're
with
just
it? Like
better.
they just
They
better.
just have a better
know it?
technology.
Okay.
That or they
it's
just
their
have a
technology in
safety
general.
function on. It's like,
Yeah,
we don't
a-
want to redline the engine of the gun. Not
we'll
that
put
guns
a
have
flood
engines, but-
chamber inside that.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Probably have like
Oh, there's some pseudoscience words out there for sure.
Well, it's all science fiction.
water cooling guns.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not
It's just
water.
that their
it's
stuff
plasma.
is cleaner.
It's just
not-
a clean.
Clean,
not so
flat.
grimy.
Right.
It's not like raw
Green energy
sewage
guns.
everywhere. and-
Their like bolts aren't like you don't have to like scrape through blood.
Right.
To, like to
Right.
do the action on the
only
on a gun.
difference.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so then wave serpents.
Wave Serpents, it's a troop transport and it's an anti-grav floating tank with some offensive capabilities.
Yeah.
It's a main transport. It can
And-
hold like 10 guys in it.
And not every aspect will take these, but a good
But pretty
portion.
much everybody.
Yeah.
All the
only-
big ones are going to use them.
Yeah, like Shining Spears, they ride jet bikes.
They are not going to
don't
use.
take Wave
You
Serpents.
never know.
No, I know. I'm
They-
pretty
they-
confident in my ability.
They
to say-
latch on to the sides of the, and it pulls them, even though it's slower.
Yeah. 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 They're pretty cool, Wave Serpents. We were going to go into more detail, but obviously there's the quote, we'll do it in another episode, a vehicle episode, because there's a lot to
What? No,
Wave
I had
Serpents.
Anybody
so much
care about
prepared.
troop transports?
People
Really?
care.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like, even if
I
you
What's crazy is
apologize.
the
Yeah.
technical
I'm so
specs that
sorry.
are
yeah,
available.
even if you go on
really?
Let's Academy, they have the technical specs. They
Like,
have,
how much does it weigh?
Yeah.
How fast does it actually go versus combat speeds?
Yeah.
Like,
people care.
it's pretty cool.
It's a wild
Amazing.
hobby.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing
I want-
Grant being like, "Oh yeah, this is."
Oh, this won't fly.
I could get into it.
I just want to see the download numbers on your like vehicle transport episode. I just want to know
Why is it the
who's
lihighest
listening to that.
downloaded?
Yeah, they're just like, man,
Gives a rip.
everybody loves that episode.
The mechanics of Warhammer.
That's right.
The final piece, it's not really war gear, but it is kind of war gear. We should have talked about this when we were talking about their armor,
That's okay.
but we'll talk about it now.
Because this is without a doubt one of the coolest pieces of war gear that the Aspect Warriors use, and that is the War Mask. So we definitely talked in our last episode about how damaging it is to an Eldar to commit violence and to kill. And one of the ways they avoid that is they actually view the battle through a haze. Sometimes they don't even remember what happened in the Battle of All, and that is thanks to the War Mask.
Why would they not want to be able to remember?
Because they can't handle the amount of pain that they've inflicted on other things.
They're gentle souls.
They
Really?
no, because they're capable of great things of violence, and some of them don't. I don't think a Phoenix Lord has a war mask.
Yeah, sure.
Like I don't think Exarchs have a war mask.
War mask is gonna be for like your basic
Yeah, it's for your guy that's on the path, but then he wants the ability to leave it still.
Yeah.
And so when he leaves, he doesn't want to remember anything that he's done on the path.
Yeah, he
So
only
that's
took
what
up this path because the craft world was under attack, you know.
Oh,
and-
okay.
Or he
So
had
put
like
on
he
this
was
mask.
struggling with some violent tendencies, but now he's mastered them, so
Yeah.
now he's leaving.
Yeah.
But he needs the war mask, or else he'll
And he doesn't
fracture
want
his
any
mind.
PTSD for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So
That's pretty cool.
the war mask starts. We talked about how in the shrine there's a couple rituals called the rites of war, rites of battles.
Yeah.
And the war mask is like donned and like put on when these rites start. So we said that they mark aspect warriors with runes of blood. And in the book, in the book, The Path of the Warrior, they said that every single aspect warrior like cuts themselves and then puts a little blood in this bowl as like
What's a ritual with a little blood?
well, of course, naturally. As like the Exarch is going by and they're all like saying these liturgies and these like chants and catechins? Nope, I don't know.
Catacombs.
Is it
Catacombs has to be.
That's
It's got to be a catacomb.
That's right. They're saying catacombs. That's the
Catechism?
one.
Is that where you're going?
Catechism.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah, thanks, Peter.
That's why you use simple words and then you don't.
And then you don't look like a fool on your own podcast.
All
That you don't look
around
like
me
me.
are familiar. Anyways, so as they're saying these things, he's collecting this blood, and then he goes to every aspect and he draws the symbol of their aspect on them. And it's said that it like sears into their flesh, and so it's not just like a.
Is the Exarch doing this?
Yes,
Right.
It's not just like it's not just like a war paint, but it's like psychically something way more. And as that rune starts to like burn into them, like their vision like starts to fade under this like red mask, where everything just becomes focused and sharp and clear, to the point of where when they eventually leave, they won't remember this at all. And as they're getting these blood runes, then they're singing, like they start to like get connected with the other members of their aspect. As they're putting on their armor, like as soon as like their song is done, their helmet goes on, which is like their last thing. And as soon as like your helmet is on, the war mask is fully there. And
Yeah,
you're a different person.
Because the war mask isn't actually something physical.
No, it's a psychic.
Oh.
It is a psychic thing that is fogging your mind.
So then if you take it off, like...
The last thing you
you get-
want is that thing to come off in the middle of a battle.
Right, because then you're just...
You're assaulted
You're wrecked.
with everything
What you've done.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, what you need is you be in the war mask, you go to the battle, you come back, you ritually take off your armor, and you exit the war mask. Because the war mask, it's also said to be a direct link to Cain. So when
It's like a state of being.
Yes.
As opposed to like a physical
Yeah.
mask you're wearing.
Sorry, yeah, it is not a physical mask at all.
Right,
It's-
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
Sorry,
what I
yeah.
thought. I thought
I
it was
guess
just like
I
this
was not
mask
clear.
like thing. No, it's like a...
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I get that.
it's also when you're in the war mask, it's Cain, a little portion of him is actually touching you, and you're being like you're being taken over with his feelings, and he's a war god.
It's okay. Just kill all these people.
Right, yeah. But the war mask is one of the coolest things about aspect warriors. And like, yes, they're cool on tabletop. They look really cool. They have cool differences between them. But to
Great
me,
models.
like the war mask is what makes like an aspect warrior really unique.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it ever say if like Eldar Guardians have war masks?
100% they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they're just standard civilians. So
Yeah,
like,
so they're on the path of the dreamer, called up to like kill. No way.
yeah, like I would imagine they would have the war mask, but it just seems like this
Yeah.
ritual is very like in the shrines.
You'd have to have enough time, yeah.
You would have to, yeah.
to make sure that
But
those guardians are getting there.
But-
as you're putting your armor on, it's like, all right, it's okay. I'm gonna go kill some people. It's
No big deal.
fine. I'm not an artist anymore. I'm a warrior now.
But that mask, I think, can be a way heavier touch on them because the training and the fighting and the camaraderie with your other aspect warriors, you still need that to
Yeah.
be there
Yeah.
with Cain. Whereas Cain could literally just block everything that the Guardian does
Yeah.
and say like, you just need to stand there and shoot.
Yeah.
You're a body at this point.
Oh.
Whereas the aspect warriors need to function beyond that.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, no, the war mask is awesome.
I get so you You know?
Roused? What is that?
Stop. I can only get so erect.
Let's talk about
Peter's eyebrows just
Oh no, I'm
So-
just convinced that Eric wants a war mask where it's now okay for him to feel all these things. Just want to murder people. And
It was the officer, I swear. It was the war mask. It was the war mask. That was not me.
it's like, yeah.
I felt really bad when I
sounds
found out
really
what had
good.
really
get
happened.
behind that.
yeah, that'd be great.
I just love the idea that it kills them to know what they've done. Like, they're so like, how could I have done this? How could I have been capable of such
Is there like
violence?
stories of like masks slipping off in combat
Yes.
and they just like are just like they run from battle?
I think that ends one of two ways. One, you accept what you've done wholeheartedly, in which case you're lost on the path and
Cool.
you are going to become
You're
an
gonna
Exarch.
that's cool.
Or two, like you're shattered and like it takes a long time for you to come back from that, which then you know, some other path will tend you until they've mended your soul back together, because it'll destroy your soul to find out what you've done. Because like you commit atrocities, you murder children, you commit genocide, right? You tear people apart to get what you want, you torture and everything. But the Eldar, who are so attuned to the universe and galaxy, like,
And even when you're just saying this, it's a very one of those interesting things where typically when people talk about the Eldar, they talk about like the Eldar superiority and how they look down on every race. And like, it's true, but like they still feel bad if they kill like a human. Like, otherwise they wouldn't need that.
death is
armor.
death and final.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, they still absolutely think humans are monkeys and stuff, but like they still feel it. So it's kind of wild. It's not a good time. Okay, so let's talk about the past of the actual aspect warriors.
We don't want to keep talking about War Mask.
I'm afraid of what it might do to your body. I heard you say you can only get so erect in my parents' house, so I'm moving past. Don't
tell them.
So there's I didn't count how many, but there's probably 15 different aspects
That we know about.
Yeah, and there can be more. New ones can even start up. Very rarely, but they can happen.
Of course, yeah.
That's
They all had to start
Yep.
sometime, and they didn't all start at the same time.
Yep,
But
exactly.
it just, well, the thing is, you would have to represent a new aspect of Cain. And
Yeah.
that's the big thing. It's like, if it hasn't already been represented by now,
Yeah.
you've got to find something really new.
Yeah. So let's dive into the very first one, which is the Dire Avenger aspect.
Yes. So the Dire Avengers represent Cain's noble and merciless warrior aspect. They represent the war god's unending thirst for vengeance. So these are also described as being the defenders of the Eldar people and also embody an unstinting devotion to them. So they're like, they care about the Eldar people. This is like Cain's desire to protect the Eldar people as a whole.
Yeah.
Which just manifests itself by being these merciless warriors. Like, no, you will not harm, my people.
Yeah. And they're pretty cool. So they're actually the first aspect that was created, and they were created by Asuraman, the first Phoenix Lord.
The first.
So we'll talk about Asuraman later.
Yeah.
Eventually.
At some point, we are going to do a Phoenix Lord.
'Cause the way he created it plays into what Dark Eldars are or Dire Avengers are and stuff. But yeah.
We're going to go into the whole Phoenix Lord story, but right now we're just
And
going
it's
to...
so cool.
It's
There's
very
so
cool.
much cool
Well, like,
stuff with
you-
this.
we couldn't
There's
afford-
tons of different Phoenix Lords.
Yeah,
It's just
one
like
for
the
every
history
aspect.
of
Yeah.
them being created, and there's betrayals, and there's
All this
the
mythology
different,
and-
pieces of who the Phoenix Lords are.
Love, battle, betrayal, forgiveness. The end. So
Cool.
the role of the Dire Avengers is... okay, so they are the most numerous of all the shrines. So out of all the aspects in the entire galaxy, there's more Dire Avengers than anything else.
Yeah, and it's just because like when the Eldars go to or are being threatened, people feel the draw of the path of the warrior, and this is what they go. And then
Well, this is the noble, right? And the Eldar
exactly.
are
You're
a
doing this as
noble-
like defending your
you're
people.
this is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah,
if
and
you're not
because-
taken to other things of like violence,
These are all
or,
within
like,
the path of the warrior, right?
Yes. So there's the path of the warrior. Then there's different trails, we'll call them,
Right,
which are
which is the
aspects.
aspects. Okay, right,
That you
right,
can
right.
trail down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the most tactically flexible of all the aspect warriors, but are focused on mid to short range firefights.
And they still don't want to get in combat.
No.
Do they play like that on tabletop?
Yep.
Yeah. They're like a shooter army?
It's a good representation.
Yeah, like they
It's
have like a
shooter
range
unit.
of.
Oh, it's a shooter unit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a unit.
Right.
Yeah, they have like a range of 18 inches, so
Okay.
kind of
So
mid
it's-
range.
Right.
Yeah, and they're very much like defenders as opposed to like they're not storming the gates.
Yeah,
and,
they're not
you know,
claiming like this backfield thing.
Yeah, they're just kind of
They're
holding the
protecting.
line, keeping things safe. And there's a bunch of stories of them where like they're more likely to give up their life in like sacrifice. Like if there has to be a final last stand, these are the ones that will stay behind and let others retreat.
Oh, wow.
They give up that noble sacrifice. They're the noble warrior.
the protectors of the Eldar.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they're
Sounds like a good friend.
besides for being a murdering psychopath.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But of all the murdering psychopaths,
Out of
the
all
kindest,
of them.
they are the most honorable, yet merciless.
Yeah. And we were talking like, why would they include like merciless? Like, how do you, like, wouldn't every warrior kind of be merciless? And it's like, these guys, they'll gun down everybody. Like, if the enemy's retreating, they'll gun them down. Where like other
No
ones,
prisoners. No,
exactly. Like
right.
they're to the point. They're doing what they have to do.
Because
where-
everything that they do has to do with the protection of the people.
yeah, where other ones might just be like, oh, there's
We've
you
claimed
know,
the objective, so
exactly.
you
we don't
can
need
clean
to kill
up and
anymore.
we'll.
Yeah,
Right.
if they incapacitate a person, like they shoot one in the enemy's an enemy's wounded on the ground, the Dire Avengers are gonna kill him. They're gonna kill him, end it, make sure the battle is won. Where other ones, like they might just ignore like wounded and incapacitated soldiers.
Yeah, and that's part of the vengeance aspect of Cain that they represent.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All enemies of Cain deserve
You
to
brought
be
this upon
destroyed.
yourself. Yeah. Now here's your fate. So their war gear, they use the standard aspect armor, and it is predominantly colored blue.
Yeah, they on their helmet, their cone helmet, they have a very high crest and a plume on it, and the plume is dyed to match the color of the craft world that their shrine is on. Another thing that represents kind of where they come from is that they can wear a tabard. They don't have to, but if they do wear the tabard, it represents the shrine that they come from, and then it has the craft world colors as well.
Yeah. And every now and again, you'll even see these guys, like their Exarchs with like backpack banners, which will also carry like their shrine
And craft world.
and craft world on it. They are equipped with a targeter on their shoulder that feeds them data. And like this ties directly then into their Avenger Shuriken catapult.
Yes, love it.
But yeah, like this targeter, it's described to like pick out friend and foe, and like, oh, this one's
Like a
hostile.
predator cannon,
Exactly.
kind of like
but
that.
it doesn't shoot. It just does the predator cannon
I'm
shoot?
pretty sure it's a gun, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, this just targets stuff.
Oh, it's
and then
they don't.
There's
oh,
another
okay,
aspect that has
something like that. Yeah. Well, this
gun
one
like
just
that.
takes like all the information. Like it'll even take into like account like, oh, there's a cover over there that's gonna be able to withstand the enemy's shooting power. You know.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So it just scans everything and then links it in towards the gun and the helmet, and yeah, helps him be
But a cool thing about this gun specifically
the
is
Avenger
that
Shuriken catapult.
yes, the Avenger one is that so it has a longer barrel than Guardian Shuriken catapults. Sure, whatever. But a fully automatic Avenger Shuriken catapult can fire 1,500 discs a minute.
Which is fun. Which is good time.
That's a lot of bullets.
Yeah.
Although its ammo would be depleted within 4 seconds. Because it only has 100 discs in its magazine. Only 100.
4 seconds into the battle.
I'm out, guys.
That one guy always does this every. It's like playing paintball with the guy who shoots all his balls within the
Yeah.
first 5 minutes.
And then he goes and sits by the fire for the rest because
Yeah.
he's out. But yeah, no, it can shoot 25 shots or discs a second.
25.
Yeah.
Oh
a
yeah,
second.
because 100. Yeah, sure.
And this is where I come around to what you were saying earlier, Mark, that catapult is a lame word for this thing.
No, it just lobs
confusing.
25 every second.
Yeah. So Dire Avengers are so taken with the art of the Shuriken,
Capitalize the art of the Shuriken.
the way of the sword, the art of the Shuriken. They are even when they're not in battle, they wear robes lined with them.
That is a terrible idea.
Right?
Now, is this...
Monomolecular.
This is not just like stitched on, like, hey, I just want some embroidery on my robe. This is, they've lined their robes with Shuriken.
Monomolecular.
And just,
shurikens.
I mean, just think about a robe. You typically, I'm not wearing anything under a robe if I'm wearing a robe.
Oh yeah, and there's always that
And-
one goofball.
Yeah, and I'm just, you just let yourself
I need to go to
hang
the
out a little
doctor.
bit and whoa, just uncross your legs and whoa,
Yeah, but it's important that they wear this.
they love it.
The reason they do that is because they're the defenders. They never want to be caught off guard. Like if they're wandering around the craft world, they always want to be ready and able to kill somebody by throwing
their
a
robe.
shuriken.
Yeah, they throw them like
Like,
a swift chopping motion.
swift chopping, yes. Yeah, pretty cool. They also use plasma grenades and wave serpents.
Yes, perfect. Let's talk about the Exarch of the Dire Avenger. So the armor of a Dire Avenger Exarch and the Souls Within have potentially given the Exarch an uncanny ability to avoid enemy attacks. So we kind of came up with two potential reasons why this would happen. One is that he's just a better Dire Avenger than everyone else.
Yeah, he's
So-
already like an Exarch. Like he's already been in the path for 400 years. You know, he's got that experience.
Yeah, and then the other reason could just be that there's so much knowledge within the armor that it's just adding to his own, and
Yeah.
then it gives him kind of like a precog ability in battle.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Take your pick, really.
Yeah. Their war gear. Usually aspects always carry the exact same war gear, except for the Exarch. He'll take a more specialized version.
Sacred weapons.
Yeah. So in this case, dual Avenger Shuriken catapults.
One in each hand.
Whoa! And then he has two targeters as well, so he can actually because
You can actually
Dual
dual
wield-
wield with accuracy.
yeah, exactly.
It's like who's the Iron Man War Machine, where his
Yes.
guns are just shooting
Right.
things behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Except he's holding them.
Yes.
How do the guns?
Don't worry about it.
Are the guns moving his arm?
That's right. Yes. It's the armor. Remember? It's controlling him.
The next thing that they can use are
Yes.
dire swords.
Yeah, it is just a power weapon, but it actually houses a spirit stone within it of a different spirit, and during an attack, the soul inside the weapon will attempt to destroy the enemy's mind, killing them instantly.
That's where you put the crazy ones in the sword.
Yeah.
Blood, death,
You know what? I'm just gonna put you inside this sword.
Yeah.
You can just kill as
like
much as you
A
want.
seer goes into the Infinity Sword. He's like, "Hey, Gary, we've been getting a couple complaints from the other souls.
I was wondering how we were gonna tie Gary back
in the
into these.
circuit, and if you could just come with us, we got this nice crystal for you."
You know that guy from Futurama? What is this? Like the robot with the choppings?
Clamps.
Clamps. That's what I'm looking at.
the clamps.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. They just throw
Or
clamps in a
Roberto,
sword.
You want to get stabbed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. The next thing they use are shimmer shields.
Quick question though about the dire sword. Is it not enough to just simply kill?
No.
Clearly not.
No,
yeah.
you have to destroy their soul.
Their mind.
the vengeance
Their mind
component.
Yeah.
It's so cool. We were talking about this. We're like, dire sword. Mark's like, it's just a power sword. And I was like, okay. So I wrote it, and I was like, I wonder if there's information. And then we saw this.
There always is information.
Soul
I
will
should've
attempt
known.
to destroy the enemy's mind.
It's so cool.
But what if it fails? Is he?
Then he just keeps attacking until the
that's fine.
So now
until
he-
either
now
he's
he's-
just dead physically or solely.
The way
Solely.
40K works is like you either got two types of information. You click on a link and it'll be like a dire sword is a dire sword.
Yeah.
Or you click on
An
it, it'll be
Eldar
like,
weapon.
Yeah, an Eldar weapon power sword. Or you click on it and be like, oh my god, like 4 pages on like
Why? On a wave serpent.
yeah. And it's like okay, it's either
It's
so
weight.
much,
It's specifications.
yeah, it's either so much information or nothing. So
Love it.
let's talk about the shimmer shield, and this is an advanced wrist-mounted force field that generates a shield around him and his squad. And
Pretty cool. Yeah, it just
Yeah,
offers like a little
Very
bubble
defendery.
of invulnerability.
yeah, and like I can just see like Dire Avengers like escorting or protecting civilians, and like they're using this
Totally.
and like keeping everyone around them safe, and yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
They can also Exarchs can also just take a variety of power weapons or
Yeah.
shuriken pistols. So-
Swords, spears, shuriken pistols.
but that's Dire Avengers.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
So a couple other things I saw about Dire Avengers. And I don't know. You tell me.
Okay.
But I saw
No,
that
I was giving him the eyebrows.
Farseers are somehow connected to the Dire Avengers or prefer the Dire Avengers. We'll give them the most important missions, or if they need honor guards for the Farseers, then it'll be from the Dire Avengers.
Why do you think that is? Because I have my own reason.
Because they're the most honorable.
Yeah.
And they
And the
are
defenders
original.
and
They're
the
the most
noble.
tactically flexible.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
like-
They have solid offense and defense,
Yeah.
and
That's right.
there's the
That's
most of them, and they're the original one.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Okay.
Did you have any other points that we didn't
Or was
miss?
that it?
Are we going to talk about specific shrines?
Yeah, if you got a
If you
certain
have them.
shrine,
I've got them. Yeah. Okay. So
You really came prepared.
that's right.
So
I've been
outclassed.
He's done this before.
studying.
Clear. So have I. Barely.
You did an orc episode. It's like
You can't. You
Just
don't
throw it
really
together
need to
like the
prepare.
orc.
half the
Yeah.
episode.
Look,
you
I
just
heard that they were
yelling
inviting
wog.
another guest. I wasn't sure who it was. I needed to maintain my
Oh
title.
God! What if it's Colin? He
as,
thought.
as the Eldar expert. So here's some different names of shrines. You got the Argent Crest Shrine, the Dire Avengers. You got the Falling Moon Shrine.
Perfect.
You got the Knights Azure. And so they
Azure?
are
The Knights of Blue.
Azure?
Azure. 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 Azure.
I never heard
Azure.
it said Azure.
Azure, yeah.
Eric's furiously
that's how I'm
typing,
going for
trying to fact check.
Anyways,
it.
No, it's fine.
Pronunciations for Warhammer
well,
words.
But they're
That's a real word, Frank.
Yeah, I know. It's in Skyrim. As soon as you said that, I was like,
know it's
oh,
real.
it's definitely.
Okay, but they're cool because they are always pursuing sightings of Asurman, who is their Phoenix Lord.
Okay,
And so
yeah.
again, we talked about like Phoenix Lords could disappear, and I mean he's like the original guy
Yeah.
who started this whole thing. And so like if there's word of him, like that shrine is taken off. They're gonna find out, trying to where is he, where could he be? We're going in that direction. So they're pretty cool. Then you've got the Sable Helm Shrine. They're known for having black helmets. And
Oh, that's cool.
Then you've got the silver.
That's what they're known for.
That's it. That's it.
Is that one of those links where
Yeah,
it's just
no,
like,
that's it. That's all there is.
just known
There's
for
not a
that.
lot on these shrines specifically. Yeah, and this is the most shrines that I saw of any of the ones that I was looking through, because Dire Avengers has the most. And,
Makes sense.
So you got the Silvered Blade Shrine, which is their colors are black and yellow. Don't know how that really
Black and
works
yellow,
with.
black and
yeah,
yellow.
Silvered Blade. And then you've got the Sunblade Shrine. So those are the different shrines that they have.
It's kind of cool. Like you could come up with like a whole personality, a whole shrine. Like if you're writing like a listener lore, and then giving me money to promote your
to
listener
pay it.
lore.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
No, like it's cool. Like you could really come up with like a very unique purpose for your shrine, and like a very
Yeah,
Like
to create like an aspect seems a little far fetched.
little far-fetched,
but to
but a
create
shrine?
individual shrines, that seems way cooler.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. Because
And-
an aspect, I mean, that's like you're saying, like 10,000, however
Like,
long.
that's
years
like-
of history.
yeah,
going
and-
back because
Zerman himself is like pick somebody to start a new aspect, and it's just
right,
like
one of
that's
his
a lot.
disciples. I
Yeah.
mean, like when you get into all the Phoenix Lords and all that,
Yeah.
there's a lot there. One of the things, though, I think we kind of already mentioned it, but I just want to go back to is because you've got the different craft worlds. So each of the craft worlds will have like shrines from some of the aspect. Like Dire Avengers has probably got to be everywhere. Like
Yeah.
you got a craft world, you got a Dire
Most
Avengers
likely,
shrine.
yeah.
Because they're the most numerous, common, and you need honorable warriors everywhere. Like
Yeah.
right. But some of these other aspects, you're not going to necessarily see them on every craft world, but they'll have like some are more popular than others, and then
Yeah.
some are very rare,
Yeah.
just to specific craft worlds.
So an interesting thought is that like if the Eldar craft world determined that it like no longer needed these shrines, like maybe no one would find them anymore. And then like at some point you could be like, man, there's a battle coming, because you know the seers are always looking into the future trying to find it, and like there's we know that it's going to be against like these aerial combat people, but like we don't have ego pilots, and so there are instances of like the craft world like nudging people in like certain directions for paths, and it would be cool, like a story of like a shrine that is resurrected through like the need of the craft world, like pushing these Eldar to like kind of flooding their memories in their mind with like this need to join the shrine.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even if like a Phoenix Lord who's disappeared for a couple hundred years shows up all of a sudden, and suddenly we got
Got
to
a
train
bunch of
up some
shrines
warriors,
coming.
get this
Yeah.
shrine,
Yeah.
pull the dust covers off and open up the windows.
Yeah.
And
If there are windows,
Right?
But it was it's cool to me to think that like since a craft world is so large,
And a craft world's also living.
yes, and it can change itself.
Yeah. The craft
Right.
world actually might block off this shrine and
Yeah.
like make it actually
In times of
inaccessible.
battle, the craft world actually fights against the people, blocking certain things or
Yeah.
like literally collapsing its own hallways so the enemy is like funneled into certain areas. So
Yeah.
we know it has a certain type of primal sentience at the very least, but it's definitely attuned to like what the seers and the otarchs are doing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Pretty wild. I
There's
don't know
no,
how he
like, there's
got
no like names for the craft world, like spirits or any of that.
like
So
they have
It
like,
does-
Because you said
like
it's
the
like
Infinity
alive,
Circuit?
right?
Yeah.
You said it's
But
like,
it's made of like the combination of all the Eldar who have lived on there and died, and they
cool.
join the Infinity Circuit.
And if you want to find out more about that, go back and listen
35.
to
Episode.
not even earlier than that.
Dang it.
To our other Eldar.
way to make me look
episodes.
worse, Peter.
Because
trying to plug episode
we talked
35.
about those. No, then go back and listen to that episode. You'll get to hear my great plan for the Eldar and how
To make the Eldar great again.
And make the Eldar great
Beautiful.
again.
It's mega.
Yeah.
Make the Eldar great again.
I love that.
now you just upset a bunch of people saying that.
Why?
word.
Yeah, this
We're just making
podcast is gonna get
Eldar-
Speech
flagged.
is violence.
We're just
I've been
making
told.
Eldar great again, guys.
Oh.
In the 41st
41st
millennium.
Cool.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about Dire Avengers?
Shrines are cool.
Okay. Peter, any other shrines you had? You want to share?
No, I'm ready to go on to the Howling
All right.
Banshees. They are
Howling-
also really cool.
Howling Banshees. Yes. I'm going to share this because I really like it. Sorry, Mark.
And you don't trust me in what I'm going to say.
It's not that I don't trust you. I don't trust you.
You're robbing from your Phoenix Lords episode by going into the history of this.
No, this is so basic. Okay, so the Howling Banshees. And interestingly enough, this aspect does not come from Cain at all. It was never a part.
What?
It was never a part of Cain. So
Tell me more.
This aspect is gifted to Cain by the crone goddess Morai Heg after she convinced him to cut off her hand so she could drink her own blood. So only he could actually harm an Eldar god. So she had to convince him. She wanted to drink her own blood so she could gain wisdom.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally. So she's like, only he can do it, so I need to get him to do it. How am I going to do it? She does this by sending her daughter Banshees to haunt Cain and like constantly screaming and yelling at him, sending him spiraling into madness. So she promises him that if he cuts off her hand, she'd call the Banshees off and his sanity would be restored. Wow, come on.
That's a foul right there.
I can't
I
believe
swear,
this.
I swear it was on vibrate. I swear.
Frank, it's been so great having you here.
Peter's so ready to throw him out. But that
This
is
is idiot they invited on this podcast. Sounds like an orc.
that is without a doubt one of my favorite stories.
And isn't it like that? So he does cut off her hand,
Yeah.
so that she can drink her blood.
she drinks her own blood and she gains
from-
wisdom.
Right. So her hand is cut off, and then she's just like, "Let me just drink this blood."
Yeah, she does it.
Now,
and so
She
as a
clearly
gift-
needed the wisdom.
Oh,
If that was her plan, I'm just going to cut my own arm.
Those
Odin
banshees-
hanging himself.
Those banshees are like Cain is their father.
Yes, it's their father. So,
So-
Morai Heg and Cain made some
Made some banshees.
god
As they
babies,
do, yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were banshees.
And then they just
Screaming children.
harass him.
Screaming children. Just to annoy their father.
But yeah, like
Speaking as a father, that will work.
But then do you go
If they
and
just-
cut off your wife's hand after the children
if she
annoy
told
you?
him that's the only way.
They just do that enough. They annoy you enough. It's gonna happen.
Don't think I didn't see that, Peter.
I hit the wrong button.
Yeah. Anyway, so because of this, Morai Heg gifted Cain with the aspect of the Howling Banshee.
Yeah.
So it was never.
It was like a trade almost, right?
Yeah,
but I
it's
think,
like-
hey, cut off my hand, or it's.
This was
Oh, he
more
was
of like
annoyed to
a-
the point where he finally gave
Yes,
in.
and then this was like a hey, sorry, as a gift,
My bad.
I'll show you how my banshees can actually fight, and you can actually use that tactic in war.
Yeah.
So really cool. Okay, But let's go into Howling Banshees themselves. So they are predominantly female, as they seem to see themselves as the daughters of Morai Hag. So this kind of follows the mythology that the original Banshees were daughters of Morai Hag and Cain, so warriors within their own right.
Yeah.
So they follow in the footsteps of Morai Hag's daughters, and they use terror as their weapon. So since the shrine is mostly female, what they lack in brute strength, they make up for with precision and efficiency.
What are you saying about this? Are
I'm
you saying that
I'm saying verbatim from the Codex. What they lack in brute strength,
are you
they
saying
make
that
up
men
for.
and women are different?
Okay, so they created a female, predominantly female army, and their like great gifts are their piercing voices.
Yeah,
their
some would say
shrieks.
shrill, yes.
That's wow.
This might be a relic from 1980 Warhammer.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I like it. I think it kind of
No, it's really cool, and you can obviously be a male and join the shrine. No one's saying you have to be female. But if you are a female and you're on the path of the warrior, like, chances are good you go to the Howling Banshees, but that doesn't stop you from going anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they announce themselves on the battlefield with the screams of the Banshee, and these screams are signals of death and woe to their enemies. Yeah.
It's
Can only
really cool.
assume.
Women, when the wife comes home,
Yeah. But
terror, she announces herself with screaming.
yeah, the aspect of like terror and fear and precision, and they're so efficient, so they don't even have to waste a bullet. They scream, it freezes you in your tracks. They'll walk by and slice your head off. Done. Like, how much more
How much
efficient?
more efficient can you get than that?
Yeah. So these and the Howling Banshees, they're founded by Jane Czar, who was the first student of the Phoenix Lord Asurman. And this teaching even started before there were even any shrines that existed, before there was even a path of the warrior. So she was there right in the beginning. And conceivably, I would say that this is the second aspect to even be created.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, I think that she was the first Exarch ever. Because
she would have been under...
She was the first student.
Yeah.
So then the first Exarch, and then I would believe
Yeah, because
the first
Asurman
Phoenix
was never
Lord.
an Exarch.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, let's talk about their role. The Howling Banshees are used as close combat terror troops.
Like Reavers.
Yeah, just more efficient and better and
And
useful
way better, and
equipped
actually
better and actually
things.
do things. And,
Yeah,
you know,
agreed.
more terrifying than just wearing a mask.
That's
of
right.
A skull.
And thinner, slimmer armor. Glad we got that
There.
out of the way.
For once, I didn't bring up a Primaris round.
That's right, I did.
Good. They're able to close vast distances on foot, being the quickest of all the aspects. Yeah.
Yeah. So even
They're very nimble. If you got time, go watch like a Dawn of War video, Dawn of War 2 trailer. It just shows like a bunch of Howling Banshees
And blurs.
fighting Space Marines. It's like this very like nimble jumping off rocks, and it's a very cool video. And then they also have another cool video. The Dawn of War 3 trailer has some in there, and like, yeah, they just look awesome.
Do they scream the whole time they fight, or like before they start fighting?
Always.
Just the whole time.
The
it's just-
whole time. No.
why not?
I would love to do
Sure
a
they
banshee.
could.
Sure,
Eric, can
yeah.
you show me what a banshee howl might sound like?
No, I could show you a Manshee. No, there's nothing saying that
Don't do
they
that to
aren't
your listeners.
screaming, but the interesting thing is they might not always be activating their Banshee scream as they're yelling their
Yeah,
war
because it's
cries.
like a specific attack
Yeah,
that they kind
and
of...
we're gonna get into
Yeah,
how that
yeah.
works. So let's talk about how their war gear lends themselves to being these proficient, these efficient, these really quick close combat warriors.
Yeah.
So they wear the standard aspect armor, just like the Dire Avengers, and normally it appears bone colored.
Yeah.
So just like the Dire Avengers, though, they can wear tabards that will identify their craft world through their color, and it could have their shrine on it, their shrine symbol as well. But instead of a plume on their helmet, it's just a big shock of flame-colored hair. Think like a ponytail, like a single exit point from the helmet, and then just this massive bush of hair behind them.
It's pretty cool. It's one of my favorite models.
Yeah,
Looks so good.
Maybe if they just gave us new ones.
Nah, even the old ones, man, are mint.
No, they really are. They're really
they're-
cool.
Wait, you actually like them? I can't tell.
No, I do. They're
okay,
honestly one
cool.
of my favorite models.
Oh,
Like,
that's cool.
I have some Eldar, and like these were the first ones I painted, and then I painted another one. I'm like, fuck this.
I'm done with white.
Yeah, I'm back to being a Tau guy.
Yeah,
You know, it's just
painting more white.
no, they're sweet. They look awesome.
Cool.
So one of the things that kind of sets them apart is their Banshee mask. And so this helmet contains a psychosonic amplifier that magnifies the Banshee's battle screams into a mind-destroying shockwave.
The sock wave.
Yeah, it knocks your socks off. No, it's a shockwave.
The battlefield riddled with socks after the Banshees
and
go in.
shurikens.
Yeah, and shurikens and
Everywhere.
socks. Just, you definitely cannot walk through that battlefield now.
Yeah, so it's a mind-destroying shockwave, and Mark and I kind of had two thoughts on how this happens.
My thought was that it's actually a psychic attack that causes your soul to freeze in terror as it's an imminent at its imminent destruction. Because like every Eldar is actually a psyker, so they like literally use their psychic power, amplify it through the helmet, and like they just wreak havoc on your senses like through psychic means.
Magic.
Through dark magic, yes.
Yeah,
Sir.
like they're
Yeah.
the scream is like resonating with your soul.
Yeah, exactly.
And forcing, like, causing your soul to like
Crumble.
buckle. And,
Yeah.
Which the other way it's described is that the scream attacks the central nervous system of the victim, and it induces mind-numbing fear and a temporary paralysis.
Yeah, so yours
it's
is more
not
of a natural
physical.
attack. Yeah.
It's a physical thing, whereas yours is a spiritual,
Yeah.
psychic attack.
One reason why I like to think that it's more of a psychic attack is the Banshees are known to be the most feared out of all the aspects, even amongst their own
Path.
like even amongst
The path of the
Eldar.
warrior.
And like there are more violent aspects, there are more deadly aspects. Like there's one that will threaten you more, but like that threat upon your soul, like that you feel it in
That's a
your
terror. Yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
That's terrifying to an Eldar, because their whole existence is about walking a path, trying to avoid getting eaten by Slaanesh, being very controlled, and then to feel like this soul wrenching like it's like Slaanesh devouring your soul almost. Yeah, it's
Do you guys vary on your opinions of which one it is? Like,
Yeah, I think it's the
you think it's
physical
the physical
one.
one, and you think it's like the psychic attack.
yeah.
Okay.
But it could very well be both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
I think
I
it's
was
more
gonna
of
say,
a
I bet you-
blending of
Yeah,
the two.
yeah.
Yeah, like and it could even be both simultaneously, not like you choose which one, because like so
Yeah, you could literally get a sound so loud that it bursts your eardrums.
Yeah.
And like causes like your bones to shake and shatter even inside of you. Like
Right.
that, there's vibrations that can do that
yeah.
now.
And honestly, it probably would have to be both, because like if Dire Avengers are fighting something fearless like Necron,
yeah,
where
what's
don't-
the soul attack?
yeah, where they don't have
Yeah.
a soul, like then
Right.
it would be like their screams so loud it's actually
shaking loose their circuitry.
Yeah, it's
and,
actually
like,
messing
their-
with their perception. Where
Yeah.
something else, like a human or an Eldar,
Yeah, if you want to attack one of them, you
Yeah.
just crush their soul.
yeah. So
yeah.
it could be very well both at the same time.
But it's probably the physical one.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry, Mark.
Okay, there, Eric.
Mark.
Okay, bud.
Okay, bud.
So they also use power swords, shuriken pistols, and they can use wave serpents.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just
It's funny. They're the quickest aspect, and they run and have aerial feats getting to their enemies, but also they use wave serpents.
they're not quicker than a fucking hover tank.
Says you.
Says everybody. I
No.
think.
Show me the technical specs of that wave serpent, and then the technical spec of a howling banshee.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're one of my favorite aspects if I had to choose. They're awesome.
A little information about the Exarch of the Howling Banshees. So an Exarch's scream has been known to rest with the victim for many days after hearing it, slowing them down long after the initial paralysis wears off. So you're just getting like echoes of that scream inside your brain, just making you look over your shoulder in fear and terror and being a little bitch, Maybe you shouldn't be in battle.
I'm just thinking, like, so this scream, if it was just like auditory and like actually like, wouldn't other like Eldar hear it, and then they get like all shook, like other Eldar beside them fighting along Dire Avengers? I'm just trying to beat you. I'm just trying to.
I think it's targeted.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, like
Okay.
their amplifiers aren't amplifying at 360 degrees around them, right? It's specifically pointed. If
And
you
then
look
they
at
set a
them.
range, so if somebody's behind the enemy,
Yeah.
Well, you
miss?
just
Oh, sorry, bud.
Yeah, no, like
I'm gonna
just,
feel that for days.
just like any other weapon that exists. If you don't hit your target, you might hit the guy behind them, right?
Just with sound, it's a way more
Yeah.
all over
No,
the
they can be
place.
very targeted though. Even nowadays, you can very finely target sound locations. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool, like sound guns, sonic. You never. That's fine.
I also like ray
Fact check.
guns. No, they have sonic weaponry.
But like,
Check out the embassies that have been hit by them. It's a conspiracy.
this just went real weird.
It's a thing.
Let's talk about the war gear of the Exarch.
So they use Executioner, which is a two-handed power glaive, power sword, just two-handed
Big
power
weapon,
yeah.
capable of big hits.
Yeah. Or also mirror swords, which are a twin pair of power swords created specifically for dual wielding. So they're the perfect.
Is there a
length.
reason for the mirror being?
Yeah, they're a mirror of each other.
Oh, okay. I was like,
They're perfect. Like you can pick up two one-handed blades, but it doesn't make them balanced for dual wielding. But
Right.
these are created specifically
Okay.
to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. They're very well could be like
They're
you
so
look into
shiny.
it and it's a mirror of your soul.
Yeah.
You see your reflection looking back at you, and you're horrified. It's the whole terror thing.
right.
It spoke back. You shut up, sword. Yeah. Any cool shrines, Peter?
some shrines. We got the Crimson Scream Shrine. The would you say Eben or Eben?
Eben.
The Eben Witch Shrine. And so they wear
Unfounded. Such unfounded confidence.
they wear black bodysuits.
Okay.
So their armor is like a little bit different.
Like-
As opposed to white.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a bone white as opposed to a.
Well, bone
that-
white and white look quite different.
Anyways, they're wearing black. And then you've got the Shrieking Blade Shrine.
Oh, yes, they use. They're very fond of mirror swords.
Wait, what?
Shrieking Blade.
Yeah.
Are they? Is that a thing? Okay. Good to
I have
know.
Lexicanum up right now, and I knew he was gonna mention it.
Good to know.
Just reading everything. Eric just took a picture of Peter's notes.
That's
and It's
right.
just Lexicanum and
I
all.
stole
So
them from
he
him.
can't be caught off guard.
That would almost even be like a cool aspect to do on tabletop where you give everyone two-handed swords. Like, I know you can't really, but sure, fucking do it. Why not? Like, in like their whole... What?
Well, create the lore for it, but don't field that against your friend.
Well, don't literally equip them with two. Like, you just put models down with two. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Sure,
Put
sure.
a pistol on their hip. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, WYSIWYG.
okay.
That's important to some people.
Debatable.
You don't think WYSIWYG is important?
That's an argument for a different time.
Fair enough.
I think...
Different time, different place.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
lost.
WYSIWYG is what you see is what you get.
Yeah. If you put a model on the table and you says it has this gun,
Right.
then it should
I
have.
thought
that
the
gun
rule
model.
was. I thought the rule was if it's not on the model,
It's not
he
an
doesn't have it.
It's
No.
not an official
That was
rule.
one of our house rules.
That was-
way
yeah.
back. In the day.
And lots of people do it. But like, so just
I
imagine
feel
you.
gypped out of a lot of battles now.
No, but just imagine you as
Everything
an orc
would have been
player,
different.
and you're like, no, you have to use a shooter, and you're like, but I want to use this. I'm gonna. Say
You would
it's a
literally
shooter.
need like a different model for
yeah,
every weapon.
I thought that was the rule.
It's not.
That's not
Not an
fair.
official rule, but tournaments will force you to have that.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Yep.
I don't know.
ITCs?
I don't know, man. I think if you pull off good enough conversions with decently represented enough equipment, like obviously you're not giving.
Well, you
like-
can call the gun a different name and say it's this, but it still needs to have that gun modeled on the body. You couldn't show a model that has a gun profile with no gun on the model. That's ridiculous.
Sure.
Yeah. You could say
But
it's
like,
represented by a
what's the
different
difference
weapon.
between giving a Howling Banshee 2 power swords in one? Like, there is no difference. Like, it doesn't affect anything.
Right. Yes.
Like,
no,
that's
no.
all I'm saying.
Sure.
What?
No, this is a great conversation.
No, it's not, Peter. Good times.
All right. So I think we're on the next one now.
Shining Spears.
Shining Spears.
This aspect is all about a focused killing blow. It's all about that perfect strike, that one spear thrust to kill your opponent, waiting for that perfect moment. So they will train to become as precise in warfare as Cain himself, and they train to end conflict as quickly and directly as possible.
Yeah, you'll definitely see this when we talk about how they function as a role.
Yeah.
So if they can't end conflict with a conflict.
Conflict.
What is with my word today? Me no speak.
Why use many words when few
word do
trick?
That's right. Thank you, Kevin Malone. Shout out. But so if they cannot end the conflict, oh my god!
Wow.
If they cannot end the conflict in a single blow,
Yeah.
they'll circle, regroup, and then go again. But they are
Yeah.
constantly moving, and
And what they use to move is every Shining Spear is mounted on an Eldar jet bike. So they're very, very able to choose which engagements they want to do because Eldar jet bikes are so fast. You can't
Yeah.
keep up with them.
No.
So they literally like see the precise moment they want to charge, then they charge in and like, a second later.
Oh crap! Pull
yeah.
out.
Yeah. So they're very much, they choose which actions they're going to engage in. If not, they're just circling around, shooting the odd pot shot or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Just looking for an opening.
Exactly.
That's cool.
the interesting thing about their jet bikes is that they even like meditate while on their jet bikes, and when they're training, like they don't leave their jet bikes.
Yeah,
at all.
so, like, this,
they
like,
want to
shrine
become
world would-
attached to their jet bike.
yeah, so this shrine would have to be
So
massive.
they won't like jump off their jet bike to like land the killing blow and then jump back on it. It's
No.
like the killing blow is coming from the jet bike.
Yeah, and I imagine too, even if like their jet bike got destroyed and they like topple to the ground and they're still alive, they're like deep sorrow. Like I'm sure they feel like a deep connection to their machine.
Well,
It's weird.
Because like Eldar, everything out of the Eldar are made out of like wraith bone, which is like psycho resonant, and it kind of you can like feel it.
I think you would
know?
attune to it, right?
Exactly.
Like you have like a connection and like a
Yeah.
a
And then-
vibration with you and the machine.
Yeah, exactly. And then all this time you spend meditating on it, like I think you would actually feel like the deep loss of a friend if your
Yeah.
jet bike got destroyed.
It said like they know their vehicle so well. So it's an anti-grav vehicle. It doesn't touch the ground, but they know what's underneath them based on the different hums that come and vibrations that they feel through the bike.
It's like when I'm playing Red Dead Redemption.
That's right.
And I lose my horse Jacko.
no.
It's just
You
just
named him
sheer.
Jacko?
Oh yeah, just classic cowboy horse name. Just a sense of loss comes over me. Right. That's
Let me
the
one
exact
up you
same
with
thing.
video
The
game
exact same
reference.
thing. Yeah.
Playing Minecraft, you accidentally
No,
pickaxe
your
your dog.
no, no,
Sorrow.
no.
And then you have to tell everyone you're fine, but you're not.
You're not fine inside.
Oh, boy.
The Phoenix Lord of the Shining Spears is Tristantian. Sure,
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
perfect.
That's right.
And has been missing for millennia.
Yes. So
He's got a cool backstory.
it could
but-
be that the armor is like dead somewhere on a planet and no one's picked it up, or it could just be he's doing his own thing. We don't know.
Oh, they don't know.
We
Or
know.
it could be dead.
Oh, I know.
You know?
I know.
No, you don't know.
He's just trying to boost his bike.
Come on, why won't you start?
Like, is there no like story? Like,
No,
there was
there
like,
is.
like
There
a
is.
combat, and then he was like lost in the combat. Or,
That is a story, but we're saving it for the
Phoenix
Phoenix
for the
Lord.
Phoenix Lord
Yes.
episode, right?
That's right. We want people to come back.
Exactly.
All right.
Still-
Can't play all your cards.
No.
Right, Peter?
Right.
Specifically, Peter cannot
Yes,
play all.
that's right, Peter. You can't, can you?
I want to come back.
I'm just using this as a. I'm just
Avoiding responsibility and chores at home, probably.
no. I'm genuinely concerned about another invite back, so I'm just gonna just let her all fly.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Burn it all
Wait,
down.
as in like you don't want one back?
That's how
No,
I
of
took
course.
it.
That's
I
how
do.
I took it.
I
too.
took it personally.
Oh, what? No, it was the other side. I was genuinely worried that I wouldn't be invited back.
I see. So the way we do that is we throw shade at someone. So we pick someone in the group, and then everyone else gangs up on them. Today,
And since Christian isn't here, you're a natural.
no,
fit.
I was gonna pick.
Oh,
Peter, naturally,
Look at that look he's giving me. He's like the wounded. Like, how could you pick me?
almost like his jet bike was just destroyed.
Yeah.
oh.
Okay.
Shining Spears are one of the more rare aspects of Cain.
Not to say you couldn't have a craft world only of them, but
Yeah.
over the entire galaxy, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of them.
Yeah.
What is their actual aspect of? Like, what's the
It's about-
aspect
It's
that
the,
they
it's the
embody?
killing blow.
The killing. That's the aspect.
Some of them aren't
Like
super
because
clear.
like vengeance or like even I know that the banshees it's not like direct, but there's still a connection to Cain.
I think Cain's is the
Because
perfect blow.
it's like as Cain inspires
Like
fear,
precision?
they inspire. But killing blow is like
it's
the most
like-
vague to me.
I think it's pretty
like
clear.
methodical mind.
Exactly, like-
right.
Like
Precise.
he's not a berserker. Like it's a very calculated. Yeah, exactly. Very calculated.
calculated.
and warfare does need to be
Calculation.
precise. You need to be.
You know those like
proficient
memes where the
in it.
like the math thing comes up. It's like
Oh,
you see
yeah,
the
yeah.
cat and it's like he goes
The
into that like
advanced.
yeah. That's totally these guys. Oops, just
Yeah.
bumped the mic.
I've done it a couple times too.
Sorry,
Jordan will edit it all out.
sorry, listeners at
No, he
home.
won't.
Sounds good to me. Send post.
It's weird that Jordan makes all the profit but does none of the work.
He does all the work. He does all the editing.
Oh yeah, that's one button he's got to press. I edited an episode.
Took 2 seconds. I just hit upload.
Yeah, I kind of wrestled with that too, Peter, originally. But Mark was telling me about this. Like,
Wait,
I
these
don't
are edited?
I don't know.
the aspect of Cain being the killing blow.
It's less than the killing blow and more of the perfect strike in combat.
Sure.
Like if you have this planet in front of you and you need to take the planet, what do you take first? What's the perfect target to take to cause everything else to fall into
The
place?
children.
Wow. Okay.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
They're the future.
So the Shining Spears, they want the perfect target. They want the perfect blow. They want a perfect combat, right?
Peter
And
just-
and that's represented through like Cain.
Just looks so dissatisfied with this answer. He's just like,
don't know,
I
like,
guess.
you got to come to these yourself, right? You have to reconcile it.
Yeah.
Like if
clearly
you don't care
I'm
about
not,
a single blow,
No,
combat,
I'm not cut out to be a shining
No,
spear.
No.
you are on the path of command. Make Eldar great again.
That's
You're not
right.
on the path of the warrior.
That's
right.
true. I wanted to be a seer, but they just wouldn't take it.
So, anyways, I had
Yeah.
something, but it won't really fit.
Okay.
Let's talk about.
please make it.
Let's talk about the role of Shining Spears and how they function actually. And so they use lightning attacks to punch through walls of enemy. So
super fast.
super fast.
I'm
And
sure we could pull up the specs on how fast their bikes go.
I'm sure you could. So what it is, if there's
It
like
is a jet bike.
there's a wall of enemies,
A fast one.
they will literally, as they're speeding towards them, their lances will discharge these like bursts. They're called laser lances. These bursts, and they will punch a hole through. They'll ride through, and then they'll go for their target. And then if they fail and they miss, they just circle around and come back in. So as they're punching through, it just reveals a weakness that they're going for that perfect blow right at the weak point of the enemy. And then they'll just continue. If they fail the first time, they'll continue. They'll regroup, punch a hole again, and go again until they eliminate their target. So very fast.
Frankie, you were right. They're just jet bikes.
Really? There's no oh. I was like,
No, I'm just
they
getting
got
a bunch
all
of
kinds
ads.
of stats. Oh no. Yeah.
World War Z. I don't
weird.
think that's. This one has a face on the jet bike. Shoes.
I want to see fan art of jet bikes with faces.
Oh,
Just gonna
We're gonna
flood
get
your
it
guys'
now.
email. It's gonna be glorious.
okay. So where were we? Now that I've
So
derailed.
just when we get to their war gear, they're wearing standard armor.
The one neat thing is they do have like this shoulder part on their armor. Think like a knight jousting kind of. It protects your neck or whatever.
A Besigue.
No, not a best you, because that's like your
Yeah,
chest.
it's like here.
Protects your armpit.
Your armpit.
No, it protects. Think like how on my suit of armor it has like that flare.
Oh.
They have that on their spear side. Yeah. Sorry, Peter. Go on. But
okay.
other than that, it's very standard.
Yeah, it's painted white.
Yeah. Highlighted with Craft World colors.
Yeah, it looked like when we looked at pictures of their jet bikes, is they were white, but they also had potential drawings of their craft worlds.
Yeah, like Eldar glyphs and stuff.
Yeah, and they looked like there didn't look like to be any kind of single.
Yeah, like
Archetype.
yeah, it's not like the other ones where all the other ones are very like. If you look at a Dire Avenger, every Dire Avenger is blue.
Yeah.
These ones it feels like there's a lot of different colorations in them, different designs. So their bikes employ anti-gravitic engines that are capable of performing death-defying aerial stunts. The bike is also capable.
Wow, you guys.
Reading is tough. Leave them alone.
I've never been able to read. The bike is equipped with a twin Shuriken catapult.
Yeah, but the quintessential weapon of the Shining Spear is the laser lance. So this fires a highly focused laser beam at short ranges or upon physical contact with the lance. So the lance doesn't actually penetrate anything.
Yeah.
It's all just, as soon as that lance hits you, it's just this massive burst of energy.
Yeah, and just disintegrates your body. It's pretty wild. I like it. I always laugh when I see like the custodian jet bikes. It's like great. So like I just picture them like hitting a bunch of orcs and like it's like a
Just stacking
Yeah,
them
it's just
on.
like a
Yeah,
shish
just like shish
kebab them. Like it's
Yeah,
just like
and they have to like
flap
the
shake it
spear
off.
to
Yeah,
shake it
yeah,
off,
exactly.
yeah.
With this, it's like because just think about like these Eldar jet bikes that go in hundreds of miles. You know, so fast. Like just imagine hitting somebody with that. Like it'd fuck up the Eldar's arm. Like
Yeah, totally.
It would just be messed up. So it's very cool. Like that. It, like as soon as it hits, it shoots out the laser, disintegrates their body.
This would be a funny. I'm just thinking because these guys' whole mindset is like the perfect strike, right? Think
Yeah.
how hard it would be for them to fight like an orc rabble, where there is no like strategy there. They're just running at the enemy,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I'm just like,
you
they're
can't. Yeah.
Where do we
You need
start?
You need an enemy, and there's no enemy in an orc horde.
yeah, yeah. Just
This enemy is too dumb.
And yeah, it shoots a cool laser. And they're Exarchs. They've spent so much time doing this that they can like read the battle super well. They're all about finding that perfect strike. So like Eric or Frankie was saying, like it would be hard to read an orc, but like these guys could still do it. Like
Right.
the Exarch is still capable of like
he's gonna find something.
discerning the orc's body language perfectly and be like, oh, he opened up right now, boom, and then
Right.
you know, so
That is cool just with the Eldar that it's very mental. Like there's
Yeah.
not like a psychic component to this necessarily as much as it's just their knowledge of
Yeah.
battle and how battles play out.
Yeah.
More than like a seer or something like that.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
just
They
pure
also-
battle knowledge.
Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
the knowledge of every other Exarch that's worn that armor, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's cool for the Eldar because they don't really have anything.
yeah, it's very
that's
different
like
than they
that.
normally function. Yeah, yeah, they're pretty wild. The Exarch is equipped with a Star Lance, and it's one of their most sacred weapons. But it's really just a better equipped laser lance. They had somebody special make it for them, and whatever.
and it's been around for, a long time.
Yeah,
in the
Right.
notes. This is a better laser lance.
yeah, that's one of those Lexicanum links.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. Why not? So they also can use the Paragon Blade. So this is actually a fabled blade that's created by the Bone Singers of Keith.
Oh, this is the third type of Lexicanum article where they'll just name some random things that have never been mentioned anywhere and never will be mentioned ever again.
This was actually in the Codex.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's probably on Lexicanum. So these blades were made by the Bone Singers of Keith Khaile, which are the original creators of the dock that fathered all the craft worlds. So, these blades might be very, very old because craft
Right.
worlds are old, or B, the people who created this are still creating things today, and it'd be a level of craftsmanship above and beyond regular.
Yeah.
Paragon, right? The penultimate.
Yeah.
That's a word.
yeah.
You disagree, Peter?
I would just think that wouldn't you get better at making blades over time, and so the older blade wouldn't necessarily be better.
Tell that to the Imperium, who wishes it had
For the-
Dark Age of technology.
For the Eldar.
Theirs is a race in decline.
All right. That's why I need to make them great again. If they'd only return my calls.
There is one more. Return my calls. It took me a heartbeat.
All right. Some Shining Spear shrines. You've only got two that are kind of mentioned. One is the Swift Kill Shrine, who are particularly known for their daring charges. And
That's
then-
kind of cool because it's almost not as like tactical. It's more like they take advantage. They
the
roll
risk
that,
takers.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
very cool. Where the other ones are, they wait for that guaranteed.
Calculated.
Yeah.
That's cool.
These guys are just going to rush in.
Calculated.
Then you got the Blooded Lance Shrine, and they frequently ride to the defense of maiden worlds who are under the threat of invasion. So if there's these maiden worlds, these seeded worlds that if there's invaders coming, they're the first ones that are going to make their way there to defend them.
That's cool. Yeah. One thing to note too about these shrines, they're a lot smaller than other aspects. Not like the shrine itself, but like the members in the shrine, like the
The numbers.
The numbers are a lot smaller.
From what we gather from codexes.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, if like every member of your shrine has to have a bike,
Yeah, it's a lot more war gear.
Yeah, that's way more than if you're just a dire avenger.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean,
Makes sense
like,
to me.
you could even like relate that to like a cavalry unit in like back in the day, right? There's not going to be like, you know, like the riders of Rohan. Like that's like way too.
That's
Do
too
you know how
fantasy
many
for the
horses
sci-fi.
Mongolia had during Genghis
Okay,
Khan?
I guess, yeah.
Do you know?
I
Yeah,
don't.
but horses.
Do you know how many?
Versus
7 to 4.
bikes.
I would lean more to the 4. Horses are a lot.
I'm going to go with
Like there's
a lot.
well, come on, think
Almost
about it. You can only
3
name
million.
one Mongolian, like
Almost 3
Genghis
million
Khan.
horses.
How many horses does that guy need? He only need
How many
3
horses?
million
3
apparently.
million.
he only needs 1 or 2.
3 million.
How many horses were there? By
But
the
right,
end
but
of
like,
his
but
life?
okay, but say like,
Not many.
say like, you know, like there's like a unit,
No,
a
you are
cavalry
correct.
unit,
You are
right?
correct.
There's not going to be like an entire army apart from the Mongolians. All right.
There are less jet fighters
If
than there are
only-
Marines.
Yeah.
If only they could have their bikes mate and create smaller bikes that would then grow.
Have you heard of
into a
this thing
larger-
called Wraithbone,
All right,
which you can just create out
Just
of
bring
spinning it out of
your-
warp energy?
bring your bike over.
Your bike is
gonna-
very good. My bike is very good. We will make one good bike.
Let's spin our bikes together into one super bike.
They turn the bikes on.
Isn't
and
that just
leave
a
them-
car?
They turn both bikes on in a garage and then close the door, and then you just hear both bikes like. That's all. That's how it goes.
That's that.
And then you
that's-
open the
and
door.
that's
and
how they
there's-
make
there's
cars.
a baby bike.
One of those pocket bikes.
Cool. Anything else about those guys?
Shining spears.
Nope.
So let's jump on to our last one that we're going to talk about today, and that is the Eagle Pilots.
Eagle pilots. These guys is another pretty rare aspect, and they are the pilots of like aircraft, Eldar aircraft and spacecraft.
Yeah, my notes didn't update for these guys. I don't know what they are.
Yeah,
They
I don't have anything on that
Oh,
but they pilot
because I came so
ships.
prepared for this one.
but so these guys, their Phoenix Lord is Amon Harakt,
Okay.
and
What is he known for?
nothing really.
Big-
There's not really any information on
Yeah.
this. But an interesting fact about his name, though, is translated into Low Gothic. It means fighter pilot.
Perfect.
I hate that. I hate when it does that.
Well, that's the Imperium, right? Because they hear about this like, I
guess
yes,
that's
he's
true.
like the Amon Harakt, and they're like, oh, it must mean fighter pilot.
I guess if you take it through the lens of just the Imperium is
Yeah.
the one that's screwing this up. But anytime I read it, and it's like their name is their job.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
The one that always gets me is like Tau naming conventions and the way the Imperium names everything, because it's like they name everything after fish. Like all their vehicles are after fish, even though Tau, their homeworld, is a desert planet. Tau are more like cows and fishes. Like, yeah, it's just funny. Like,
It is
that's awesome.
funny because it's the Imperium who's
Like,
translating all
Being
this
very
stuff.
racist, they'd be like, look at those fish people over there. Let's name all their stuff after fish.
Look at that devilfish.
Stingrays. Yeah.
So they're just known for crazy aircraft maneuvers.
Yeah.
The weird thing is like you don't have to be an Eagle pilot to pilot one of these aircraft.
Yeah.
But if you are in an Eagle pilot shrine, you are specifically flying aircraft.
Yeah,
You're not
and-
doing anything else.
Yeah. And they have like one aircraft. What is it called?
The Nightwing Interceptor is what they are known for using.
Yeah. Best known for using. So
And that's all that's known about them?
pretty much.
There isn't much.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So sorry. There's one more thing. They're known for great feats of maneuverability.
Yeah, I mean, at least they have a name for their Phoenix Lord. Like, there are some aspects that they're unknown.
Yeah.
That who their Phoenix Lord is, or even what makes them special.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, like we
That's,
don't know.
like the Crystal Dragons.
Yeah. The ebony. or
The
that
Ebon Talons
Yeah.
and the Slicing Orbs of Xandros.
Yeah. Well, some of I know the slicing orbs at least. There's only one shrine that exists ever, so it's kind of like that thing's Exarch might be its Phoenix Lord, right? So you never know. But
And then I guess it's because I know that if you're talking about Phoenix Lords at some point, but are there aspects that are being still created, or are all of them linked back to when they originally started? Like the Dire Avengers was the first, and the Howling Banshees that we talked about came from like the student of the first Phoenix Lord. But would some of these other ones be still developed or newer, or are they all from back then and we just don't know much about?
So two things. They weren't all from back then. There are some that were not founded like right away. Like some were founded halfway through M35 or whatever. So also there would be ones that are being created nowadays. Like it just has to be a very specific purpose. Like
you need some kind of direction from Cain himself, I feel.
I don't even know if from Cain necessarily, as more from Azurman.
Yeah.
The Dire Avengers Phoenix Lord, because he's the one who's like founding all these specifically. He's the one recruiting the Howling Banshee one, Jane Zar or whatever.
But that one,
and he's the one.
He didn't recruit her technically,
but he did go around.
He created the children of Asur.
But he did all of the teaching that he did, traveling to different craft worlds, and then each of his students then went around and then did their own teaching, some in the webway, some go into craft worlds.
But that doesn't mean that new ones can't be made.
No, new ones can be made.
There's a link to Cain, but I don't know if originally how much of it was coming directly from Cain to Azurman. I don't know if that's as clear. Like, if that's the most necessary piece.
Okay. Azurman effectively created the Path of the Warrior, right? And like he is definitely the first one lost on the path, right? So he creates the Path of the Warrior. He finds the War Mask, or Cain shows him the War Mask, and then he's the first one who's like, I don't want the War Mask. You know, I want to devote myself to the Path of the Warrior. And then everyone else, like if you're a member of the Path, like you know what the War Mask is and you know it exists, but I think it's kind of arrogant as an Elgar to assume that you would know combat better than like the first Phoenix Lord, unless Cain has given you something different and you want to embody a different aspect of Cain. But there's no aspect of Cain for creativity.
I just don't know if the aspect of Cain is coming directly from Cain as much as just like, is it really from Cain, or is it, just like, this is a sweet like style of warfare that I think is good, and let me tie it to Cain. Like,
did you read about the Death Reapers?
Yeah.
Did you read about what their
Dark Reapers?
Yeah. Like their aspect did not come from Cain originally, right? And it was given to them from someone else. So I do think they're like you need to be given something, and you have to actually represent a portion of Cain in order to do it. If you're not representing an aspect of him, are you an aspect warrior? Like the Shining Spears, I don't think it shows as much as it could have, not like the Dire Avengers where it says noble and merciless.
Right.
But I do think if Games Workshop was willing to answer some questions about it, we would get more concrete answers about what exactly it represented.
Yeah. No, I think it's just interesting to look at to what extent Cain's role is in this, and the connection between Cain and the Phoenix Lords and things like that.
Well, the Young King and the Exarchs. Like, we didn't even talk about the avatar of Cain. And like,
there's that avatar again.
So in the Path of the Warrior, when the seers determined that a battle was imminent, like the craft world itself started to like send out waves of like anger and hatred, and every Eldar on the craft world was affected by this, to the point of where nothing but battle and rage is like emanating from this thing, and it was all centered around the avatar of Cain, right? And in that inner sanctum where he's created. So like, I do think that they don't do war without him, because like to do that is like to give into something different. And so if you want to create an aspect and be a member of an aspect warriors, like you have to have Cain in there somehow. Because could you be an Exarch and then not be like a young king? Could, like, without Cain's blessing? Like, what if he just denied you because you're not a member of his priesthood, right? Like, you still have to be within his purview. I don't know. That's way more how I see it. I see it much more of a spiritual thing and less of a tactical decision. I just think every aspect of Cain lends itself tactically.
But what
to
if it's
combat.
more an aspect of war as opposed to actually an aspect of Cain?
Cain represents all aspects, though. He is the god of war.
Yeah.
What aspect could you think of that
Right off the top of my
that
head, Berserker.
Cain doesn't represent a berserker aspect?
No, like a new aspect warrior could be a berserker one.
But
they don't
Cain,
have that.
But Cain represents a berserker aspect.
Does he though?
Absolutely.
Or is
the
that
avatar of Cain?
Because how
I
can
just
he
think
be a berserker?
He's killed Eldar in cold blood. That's
No,
a
but like-
berserker action.
But the whole way it
Yeah,
works,
that's why his hand drips always. The avatar's hand always drips blood.
But
to
that
make him
doesn't mean he's a
remember.
berserker.
Eric, here's the thing. If Cain is the god of war, anything you can find that's part of war, you can say is part of Cain.
Yeah.
Because he's the god of war.
Sure.
So, but you can make anything fit in that.
Yeah, like
But I think
aspect warrior of tactics.
You're
like,
leaving the fact that these people literally meditate and like worship and give offering to Cain. So if he hasn't ordained what you're doing, then all you're just doing is meaningless. Your offerings mean nothing. Maybe he wouldn't even give you the war mask then, right? Because the war mask comes from Cain.
I don't see why he wouldn't if you found like,
All I'm saying is that
No.
without his blessing,
I hear
you
what you're
probably your shrine probably would not survive. Like Cain can take things away, he could take it away. Why not?
how though? Why would he if you come up with a new aspect of war? Why would he take that away?
What if he didn't think it was proper in the moment? Because like,
But he's the god of war, so as long
every-
as there's
every-
war, I think
Yeah,
that's the whole
exactly.
that's
thing.
not true though.
No, that's
What is
completely
there?
true.
What-
No, because at some point, sometimes maybe he thinks defense is the better option, and he's like, "We don't."
Oh, now
need-
you're thinking for Cain.
no, but I'm saying
Truly arrogant. Not only can he not like
there's aspects of
the
Cain,
god of an Eldar.
and so
Mind we can't even comprehend the Eldar. He's like, their god.
No, I just think that
Soltex.
Not-
I love it.
not everything is necessary in a single moment, right? And so if you had like an idea and there's no
That's a
shrine
thought
to
though.
fit-
That says then like some aspects are useful at some times and not others, and it's
Absolutely.
like a shifting. But
So who does that shift? Is it just natural, or is it the will of the craft world that does it? Is it Cain's flowing through the craft world infinity circuits that does it? I think there has to be a spiritual aspect of the aspect warrior. If there isn't, then I don't know. Like everything else they're doing has to be like is very spiritual, and it just doesn't make any sense to remove this from it. Cain is also one of the only gods who has regular contact with the Eldar people through this avatar. None of the other gods do.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
cool.
I just think it's
Yes.
any aspect will work.
I think you could just make an aspect.
And he's like-
I don't think Cain is going to be like pissed that your aspect is like whoa.
No.
You know what I mean?
I never said he'd be pissed.
No,
I
I
think
know,
you
I'm just
need
saying-
his blessing.
Sure, but he's going to bless
Any
anything
aspect of
because
war.
he's the god of war, and as long as it's like he's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that'd be great. I'll totally bless that. That sounds amazing. Yeah, let's do that.
Does that further war what you're doing?
Yeah, are more people going to die?
I'm in.
So I don't think there's because it's war. So I don't know that it happens all the time, but I definitely think it could happen. And
Yeah.
I think that there's ways that you could come up with something and Cain's just going to be like all for it.
I think so. I'm gonna agree with Peter on this one.
Like you create a new sort of weapon or a new spin on a weapon, and then you're like, oh, we could use this to fight this type of enemy, and it's going to be great. And so like, let's create a shrine. And I just think Cain is going to be for it.
and even like the slicing orbs of Xandar, like they're on only one craft world. So Cain thought that was useful enough. Just it's not useful for everybody, but he thought it was useful enough for at least this one craft world to do it. So As long as
Yeah,
they're
it's
fucking
interesting.
Killing.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters at 40K. Cool.
All right.
Well, I think there's so much cool stuff for part 2.
Oh, yeah.
That we haven't got into yet. Like the striking scorpions, like such a big part of who they are for the Eldar. The Dark Reapers, which you mentioned, which have some really cool stuff in there. So
Yeah.
lots of exciting.
Yeah,
things
this
to
was
still
only the
get to.
first part, I guess. I don't know. Did we ever say that?
Yeah, I mentioned
Well,
it once.
didn't you put it in the title?
We will.
That will be.
Yeah, you said that it was going to be in the title. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so- striking scorpions, dark reapers, fire dragons, swooping hawks, warp spiders.
Did I write war spiders?
Yeah, warp spiders, crimson hunters, shadow specters, crystal dragons, slicing orbs of Xandros, ebon talons. So next episode,
Some of
we're
those
going to be
sound
talking
like
about those.
drugs. Yo, man, you want some Shadow Spectre? You want to take some Crystal Dragon?
Nah, I'm good. I got the slicing orb of Xandros.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool ones. They're so good. They make the Eldar cool. Everything else is kind of pansy, but
Cool.
Yeah, looking forward to part 2.
Well, anything else we want to share?
check
Thanks
us
for
out
inviting
on-
me back.
Yeah.
After 3 years, I'm
It's been 2.
gonna stick with.
All right,
with
fair
this
enough. That's your call, I guess.
Yeah, check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We have shirts that we sell at Redbubble, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
merchandise. You can buy
Yeah.
bed sheets with Lorehammer symbols on them.
Send us money. I'll bump up your listener lore.
You dirty.
That's
Really pushing that.
dirty
Hey, that's
whore.
Because I know it bugs Eric.
right. Yeah.
So-
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything to bug brother Eric.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you all next episode.
See ya.
See ya.
Oh, bye.